Hello, guys. Well, it's gonna be live. We're gonna do a live coaching session with my friend Franz here. He's from South Korea. He won our promotion. We did a promotion in the Discord for like holidays. So, yeah, let's see. We're gonna go to here. We're gonna go live. We're gonna do a session review. This is basically how I do it with my students as well. This is basically the first thing I do. I look at their game. I want to diagnose their game. I want to see where my student is at so I can help him from his level, instead of just like teaching him generic stuff like you would find, I don't know, on Run It Once or somewhere with videos and stuff. So my first objective usually with someone, if I like work with them, is to see where they are at. And I've worked with tons of people, probably like over 100 students. So it's easy for me to see patterns. It's going to be interesting today to see what patterns we find. And from there, basically diagnosing the leaks, seeing the main leaks, the main improvements. From there, we can start working on fixing each of them with prioritizing the biggest ones. So like fast tracking progress. And this is the kind of approach that helped me a lot when I was a student and I was doing coaching. So I think this is probably the most efficient way to improve, and this is probably the way to benefit the most from coaching. And let's see, we have Franz here from, yeah, like I said, from South Korea. He's playing NL50. Can say hi to the guys. Franz.
Hello, guys.
And how is it like? How do you find what you played NL50 Zoom, right?
Yes.
What's your experience there in the pool? Like, how do you think the games are? Because I haven't played like those games in forever. Let's see. Gonna share the video here as well. Okay, I shared the video, and let's get it going. All right. Okay, I have the chat on my other PC as well. Okay. You can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so how's the Zoom? How's the NL50 Zoom pool?
It's like I played Rush 100 NL in GG in the last year, and like I think the pool is not that much softer than GG, but I think when we have some HUD on the stars, so I think it's more comfortable to play.
Yeah. With the HUD. So you'd say, yeah, actually, so okay, interesting. So comparing Rush and Zoom, they're pretty similar difficulty.
Yeah. I think it's
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I guess a lot of people, but is there like the rake is quite a bit higher, right, on GG or not?
Yeah, the rake is more higher than GG, so I think it's like playing in stars is much better than GG, I think.
Okay. Yeah, if you have, so it's like our games, like also you have a fish there as well. You have like good fish in stars as well as GG.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I have the chat here. We're getting going. I want to also like give us a bit of background about like how, with you studying and stuff. Like where are you getting nowadays most of your information, or like basically the strategies you are playing now? Where did you learn them from?
I learned it from first is I saw your video like 3 years ago,
Okay.
and I'm using like GTO Wizards and like watch some Runny One's videos and review some hands after the session.
Yeah.
That's my study routine. Yes.
Okay. And how do you feel like working with like GTO Wizard? I guess it's I did not really work much with it. Um, how is it? How does that go? With do you look at the solver? Do you look at solutions for like specific hands, or how does that study go?
Um, I used to watch a lot of simulations using GTO Plus when I was like 2 years ago, but like GTO Wizards, like the advantage of that is really comfortable to see the sizings and the line
Mm-hmm.
and can see a lot of single raised pot.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So you have been
um
working with solvers before as well.
yes, slightly. I yeah.
Okay. So that's mostly where basically your poker knowledge, mostly working with like GTO Plus and like GTO Wizard.
Yes, it's true.
Okay. Okay. So is that your approach? You would say like it's more like solver based approach. How would you characterize it?
Yes, it's right.
Okay. Um, what do you think? Before like we go into like more specifics here, I want to kind of get, yeah, like more of an idea. Like, what do you think are some weak areas in your game that you're like uncomfortable?
Um um I like first I want to find more bluffs
Mm-hmm.
and
Why do you
um
want to find more bluffs? I
because
mean,
like um
what's the benefit of that? Or yeah, like what's the goal behind it?
increasing some red lines and to be to be more creative in the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Um, so yeah, okay. You want to find more bluffs
No,
that actually work, that go through.
yeah, so I want to be somewhat unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like when we play a lot of hours in like fast forward format, then so it becomes like very faced up player and having the
Yeah.
same line, bet, and just getting value.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to be changed to be unpredictable. So
Yes.
yeah,
Okay. So you want to be like harder to read with your ranges and stuff.
yeah, that's true.
Okay. So right there with like with bluffing, the purpose of like you mean like finding bluffs. So I guess you mean like finding bluffs in spots where it's hard to bluff, where
Yes,
it's hard to find bluffs. Maybe like everything gets there. Um,
yes,
these kind of spots. And yeah, like for that you need to have like a good range construction from the flop, because they yeah for a lot of people on some runouts, like when everything gets there, they don't have bluffs. Um, and I know that was a big topic of discussion in. So yeah, let's actually get into that a bit. A big topic of discussion in the Discord as well, with some hands you posted, and with like finding creative bluffs and finding bluffs in spots people don't bluff. Um, a big so first of all, do you like roughly know about like the mechanics of like value bets and bluffing? So like how many? So for example, if you bet pot size, do you know like how many bluff to value combos you should have? If you bet like for example pot size on the river, let's say pot size all in to make it simple.
bluff is one and value is two.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. Yeah. You should here there you should have like half. Okay. So basically there is one purpose, like one first goal that people have, which is to be balanced, right? To find bluffs, to have bluffs in spots. Um, in basically most of the spots to be balanced, to be like you said, unpredictable. It's hard to know like what you have. Um, it's hard, yeah. You're basically making, when you're balanced like that, you're making your opponent indifferent. So I think that's a decent first goal, to have bluffs everywhere and to find bluffs everywhere. One, from seeing your hand history, the one with the king 8 bluff. uh, I remember I remember the hand selection. Well, I also said it, right? Like, it's easy, especially in spots where you don't have much value. It's easy to overbluff them because you also have, like, in that spot, for example. I think you were representing mostly like 3 combos of value, and it's very easy to like bluff more than 1.5 combos. Um, so I would be careful with managing my ranges. That's like a good first goal, to like try to manage your range in such a way that you're balanced with the value and bluffs. But secondly, with bluffing, for example, in that spot, or like in spots where people still call you down a lot, or like overcall, that those are spots, like the second level is adjusting to the player. If you think like under bluffing, over bluffing to increase your EV. So there will be spots where you actually don't want to find bluffs, where you actually want to have fewer bluffs or even no bluffs against some opponents, right? When you see they're more stationary, or a common spot is when their range is very strong. So let's say you triple barrel someone in a 3-bet pot versus early position. Usually early position they will call like very tight, and then if you battle flop and turn, you make their range even tighter. And there on the river, it's hard. Like, in a lot of spots, it's very risky to even have any bluffs. So I would say the second level for you, if you want like play around with balancing your value hands and bluffs, is to basically learn to distinguish which are spots where you should bluff and where you should not bluff. Because one big rule, especially in low stakes, because I see you're playing NL50, especially in low stakes, one big rule is don't try to bluff people off of strong hands.
Oh, okay.
Once they show you they have a strong hand, just don't try. Or, I mean, you will see, but I mean, you will see this pattern. But so that's an example of a spot where you don't need to be balanced with your bluffs, or you don't need to find bluffs, because once they tell you like I have a strong hand, like if their range is very strong, for example, like let's say you have like king high board, you double barrel, and the river is another king, you're basically trying to make them fold trips, right?
Yes.
Which is very questionable if people, especially if they're a lot of missed draws. So let's say like king 10 4 5 and then a king, and everything misses. Yeah, that's generally a bad idea to try to bluff much there.
Okay.
Because once you double barrel, they will mostly have a king. If especially let's say you overbet turn, they'll mostly have a king, and then they will have trips on the river and they'll not really fold. So I think that's the next level. And for you, at these stakes, probably the most money you will make is gonna come from exploiting people, as opposed to trying to like play like the solver. But okay. Any other weak areas before we start looking at some stats here that come to mind, that maybe we will see in the video or something?
Maybe 3-bet pot in small blind with having initiated.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, those are pretty hard to play as well. That's a lot of people have trouble with them. 3-bet pots out of position as the PFR.
Yeah.
Okay, and finding bluffs. Actually, I'm gonna do it like properly here as well. I usually also take notes when I do these sessions, so taking notes about like your game and stuff. And it helps if you take notes as well, or you can see the replay and take. I could take note afterwards. Actually, take notes afterwards. Okay, let's. You can still see my screen, right? Let's look at your stats.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through them and tell you what is everything. Hey Mukesh. Oh, Vasi in the chat. This reminds me of our good old times. Always great watching you coach, bro. Hey, Vasi. Actually, yeah, Vasilios, he was my first one-on-one student after I quit coaching for Bluff the Spot. He's the one that convinced me to start coaching people one-on-one. He's one of my elite students. Actually became, like, we did so many sessions, we became good friends since then. Um, so yeah, shout out to Vasi. Good to see you in the chat. All right, let's get some coaching vibes in there. Let's see. Let's look at some of your stats. So you have a PIPPFR 2219. Yeah, it's on the tighter side, but I think it's probably pretty good for Zoom. This is one first leak here. This is fold big blind versus small blind open 50. This is pretty high. You still have rake, so like high rake. So I would try to have this number like 40, 42 here, like 40-ish. So this is basically you're in the big blind and small blind opens. I would try to call more since you're overfolding your big blind.
Okay.
And this is fold big blind to late position still, which is 65. This is also too much. As you will see during like you will see the colors here. Generally, this orange is solid, green is loose or aggressive, tight. This is tight, like red or blue is tight or passive. So this is like basically saying you're overfolding big blind versus late position still 65. I would try to have this like low 50s, like maybe even like 55 is still pretty high, but probably with a high rake and being out of position. I don't mind this being a bit higher. This one I want it like more like 40 because you're playing in position against small blind. You should have a big edge there because you have position and it's a big SPR. You should be able to put a lot of pressure. So this I don't mind. Okay. Next line. This is actually an interesting stat that a lot of people don't pay attention to, but this is I would say very relevant still. This is 14. This is, you can see here, raise with previous limpers. This is basically how often you isolate a limp.
Yes.
So yeah, you can see it's pretty low. It's, very low, like only 14%. So it seems like you're not really isolating the fish aggressively. Is that correct?
Actually, I thought that I do it quite enough, but
You thought you were doing it too much when you saw this? Okay. Yeah. Well, I would say here, like, just to give you a ballpark, I would say like 25 to 30. It's like a standard number. 25. Let's say around 25.
okay.
Let's see. This guy has 21. Let's see if we find other guys. Okay, never mind. We're just gonna keep this one in there. So yeah, this guy we have some stats on. He also has 14. Actually, wait, his stats are pretty similar. 22-19. Okay, so this shows me you're not isolating the fish enough. I would do it more often. Basically, I would try to take my range for that position and expand it. My opening range for that position and expand it. I would assume, since you just said you focus a lot on mostly on solver stuff, maybe you're not focusing enough on exploiting fish, which is where most of your money will come from. So
Yes.
most of your money in poker will come from playing heads up pots versus the fish. So isolating them, 3-betting them, is gonna be very important and a big part of your game. You should try to do that as much as possible until like really push them around until other regs start to 3-bet you too much or something, which will not happen at these stakes. People don't pay attention. Or if the fish is too tight, of course we cannot do it that much. But the ideal scenario is us in position on the fish in a heads up pot. That's where we make the most money. So that's why I advise people to isolate quite a bit in position and three bet quite a bit in position versus fish. So yeah, that's why this number I would like to see it higher, like 25 or something. How is it like just 14? I don't know. It's interesting. Well, yeah. Then again, you're not the only one at the table who has it. So this is open by positions. 19 UTG, 22 MP, 29 cutoff, 45 button, 47 small blind. This looks solid. Nothing much to say here, to be honest. Your overall 3-bet is 9, which is okay. Fold to 3-bet is 56 overall, which is fine. 16% 4-bet, which is on the aggressive side, but it's actually solid. It's good. Fold to 4-bet 44 and cold 4-bet 3%. This is, by the way, a common leak. People not call for betting enough, especially against late positions. So button open, small blind 3-bets, and cold 4-bet from the big blind. We should be kind of aggressive here, and also basically from cutoff onwards, we should look to put in some cold 4-bet bluffs as well. Ace X blockers are good. But yeah, it's just linear. We'll just go with linear hands there. So I would try to maybe cold 4-bet a bit more, especially against people who have high 3-bet frequencies. So this guy has like 10. I would cold 4-bet this guy, 12. This guy, I would expand my cold 4-bet range a bit. All right, let's see. Something else. Let's go more in detail for preflop. Okay, let's see with your 3-bets. So 3-bet versus small blind 16%. This is fine. You should have like around 19. It's okay.
Yes.
It's solid. 3-bet versus button open big blind 11%. You're probably under 3-betting. Should be more like 13 here. It seems like you have the same. Do you have the same 3-bet range from small blind and big blind? Looks like it.
No, in the big blind, I like 3-bet more polarized, and in small blind, I just 3-bet more linear.
Okay, well, yeah, that's what you should do, but probably you should add a bit more hands to your 3-betting range here in the big blind. In general, 3-bet versus cutoff. So from the button, 12% looks good. Small blind 10%, it's fine. Big blind 9%. Okay, this is good. Why are people like? I also saw this like with the recent student. Why are people overfolding the button versus 3-bets? So yeah, here you're folding 60% on the button versus 3-bet. I would have this one lower, or unless you're opening very loose to attack like blinds that are overfolding. For example, this guy has 73 big blind versus late position fold. So this guy, I would open the button more. Like you have 45, your base open. Like I would probably open like 55 against this guy, or against someone who has like over 60 something percent. Okay, hello from Athens. Hello, nays. Yeah, so I don't know why people fold much from the button that much. So 60, you're overfolding against 3-bets here. You're even like you're folding more than you're folding from the small blind, which is weird. Like I don't mind if you would overfold. I would rather you overfold out of position, not in position. You have such an advantage. People like, well, by the way, you're not the only one who is uncomfortable in 3-bet pots out of position. People are also others are also very uncomfortable. So it's a good spot to have some edge there. Okay. Let's see. Also against other positions, 3-bet versus early position 7, 8 here. This is good. Small blind versus UTG 7 versus MP 6. I'm guessing it's kind of the same range. 4 and 5. Okay, so I would say your three betting ranges seem solid. Your three bet strategy is solid. Where do you have your pre-flop strategy from? Do you follow some charts or how do you approach it?
I follow some reserves charts. Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Your basic pre-flop stats look okay. Nothing too crazy there. All right. Let's actually okay. Let's move on to more interesting stuff like post flop because here I don't see like other big leagues. You're like the biggest things are you overfolding here, big blind versus late position
Oh,
steal, and not isolating enough, but no big mistakes yet. So this pretty decent pre-flop. All right, let's move on to post-flop and see. Okay, so this is you have two different panels here. First panel is when we are the pre-flop raiser. Second panel when we are the pre-flop caller, and this is in position and out of position. Basically, this is my logic there. So this is the C betting, obviously. C betting position 62, out of position 36, barrel turn 43, and 47 river. I like this. Again, pretty solid. Looks solid. Now this is how much you are floating versus a check raise. So you see bet, you get check raised, you are in position. You see bet in position, you get check raised. You're not really folding much, it seems like. Only 33%. This is fine to have like more like 40 or something, but I would be very careful at people's check raise frequencies. Do you look at something like that currently in your game?
yeah, I always look for check raise stats.
Okay, good. So for example, this guy, he has 6% check raise flop. We should fold probably like more like 70% versus this guy, like 60-70% instead of like 33. So it's very important to adjust to our opponents. What is a standard check raise frequency in your view, in your opinion?
Actually, I heard it from your last video like 2 years ago. Like,
Oh,
it,
okay.
so maybe some good check raise for the real game is like 12 to 13.
Okay. Wait, how much did I say in the video?
Like pure solver just check raise for like 18,
Oh,
like 19, but
okay. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Okay.
really, yeah.
Yeah. I would say I'd say yeah, 14 to 16 is a good check raise frequency. Yeah, lower than that, the lower we go, the more careful we should be. Okay, let's move on. Bet turn after calling the flop check raise. So the way I build my HUD, to be honest, I don't really use my HUD that much, but in general, but the spots I do use is like this exploitative spots that are people make mistakes, and that's what I try to prioritize in my HUD. So for example, bet turn after calling the flop check raise. I think this is a custom stat. I had someone make it. This is like basically you get check raised, and then he checks on the turn. You call the check raise, and then on the turn he checks to you and you stab. A lot of people, when you check raise them and you check the turn, they will stab a lot or like almost full range. I know I used to do that. So it's very good to see that on the HUD. So if someone, they will stab, if you check to them, like after check raising and you check to them turn, they will stab a lot. It's a very good spot to check again, right? To punish them for check raising. And this is, by the way, this is the type of approach we should have. We should really look where they are. If we are working with the HUD, we should see like where are they exaggerated, where do they have like extreme stats, and try to pound on them, like really adjust our strategy on the fly to attack that. So here yeah, I would attack like a high stab here, which is check raising flop, but then on the turn, I just check a lot to them and I double check raise a lot. But someone like you, you're actually not stabbing much. You have only 48%. So I guess someone like you, I can check raise flop quite a bit, and then like on the turn, I probably would check quite a bit, knowing you will check back, and I will realize equity for the river, because you are not too aggressive with stabbing. So yeah, I would try to not. So for example, for you, it's fine if I have like an unbalanced checking range, or like I can be a bit more unbalanced because you're not gonna attack my checking range that much when I check raise flop and check turn. So that's the other extreme, I guess. Okay, your delay c-bet is very low. This is one thing I would work on. So this is again like check check flop. He checks to you again on the turn, and if anything, I would advise people to have this stat on the higher side, because when people, and this is something I've been talking to friends at high stakes as well, people don't play the probe strategy well, and they mostly, if they have a strong hand, they probe it on the turn, or like mostly they don't check strong enough, so they're very vulnerable to pressure once they check twice to you, like check flop and turn to you. So here, like so many spots, I'm now like having more like strategies like mixing flop, where I check back flop quite a bit, and then once they check again, I know they're weak. I hope my opponents are not seeing this, but yeah, when I know they're weak, and I will just go for high frequency delay c bets, and probably put more pressure on the river as well. So I think this is a good exploit, especially for your player pools, because people don't know how to handle. They don't check strong enough. They don't check raise your delay c bets. So this one I should definitely have. Higher. And yeah, this is kind of like what we're talking here about as well. Just saying stats where people make mistakes, and like everyone watching can like basically exploit this kind of stuff in their opponents. Fold to turn pro bet 54. Okay, this is good. And fold to river pro bet is 55. Okay, this is fine, sir. Okay, as you can see. Now out of position, this is check fold flop. So instead of c-betting, you're checking. Because you have a low c-bet out of position here, yeah, you're not really check folding much, which is good. A lot of people have, I mean, this guy has 100% out of 1. This guy has, okay, 50 out of 6. So yeah, some people have this leak of check folding too much, especially when they are c-betting a lot out of position. When they check, they're weak. Raise float, so we check, he stabs in position, we check raise as the PFR 17. I like this. Aggressive, you're not letting them stab too much. I like it. This looks pretty good. Fold to turn float bet 54. It's similar to here. This is good. Check raise turn float bet 15. Nice. You're actually one of the first students like I've worked with that I actually has good numbers in check raise, like as the PFR, check raising flop, and then like, or like this is c-bet flop and check raise turn. So good job here with check raising people, having check raises. And this big number is 1-1 flop, 51. So this is good. This 1-1 flop, I'm looking for this to see if someone will fight for pots, for small pots, or like if they'll just be aggressive in general. I think this is a good one to see, especially in fish, but also in regs, if they are on the aggressive side or not. So you have 51, which is pretty good. It means you are fighting for pots. If you would increase this delay c-bet, you would have even higher 1-1 flop, which is going more on the spaz side, but it's good. It's actually how you should play on these lower stakes. Okay, let's see. Versus c-bet 37, fold, turn, c-bet versus c-bet turn 48, and 69 river. It's actually pretty good as well here. Nice stats here as well. And 29 went to showdown. So I like that you're not calling triple battles too much. I would say A lot of people have your issue of not finding enough bluffs with triple barrels and they're too strong, so overfolding versus triple barrel, very good. In general, at lower stakes, once you are on the calling side, I would be more cautious against aggression. But once I am on the aggressive side, I would be maybe overly aggressive. But nitty with call downs and aggressive against weakness. It's how I would play. Okay, this is float flop, so they open, we flat in position, so big blind or button. Do you have a flat in range on the button?
Oh, pardon?
And do you have a flat in range on the button?
Yeah, sometimes if the sizings are smaller, like min raise versus min raise, and like playing against two fish, yeah, having
Okay.
somewhat flank range, yes.
Okay. Good. So yeah, this is float flop. This is again 35. This is again low. This is where you can amp up the aggression. Be more aggressive here as well. What is okay? Let's see. What is the problem if you have a high float flop here, high stab versus their checks when they are the pre-flop raiser? How can they punish you? How can they punish you if you are stabbing too much?
Okay, doing a lot of check raise on the flop.
Okay.
Then like betting c-bet, yes.
Do you think people are check raising a lot as the PFR on the flop?
Actually, not that so much in this pool.
Yeah. So they should probably, they should check raise you to prevent you from realizing equity. They should check raise you a lot. They should not really check fold a lot. Whereas I think the general tendency is people not check calling enough and they not check raising enough. So that allows you to stab more in position and realize equity and see the river for free if you want. So you can stab flop, they check call because they don't check raise, or check fold, even better. And then on the turn, you can decide if you want to put in another bet, or you can see the river for free because people don't donk and they don't check raise. So you realize equity much better like this with a lot of your range. So this is some way I would punish a lot of people in your pool. I would look at this check raise stat you have here, like as a PFR. You have 17, but yeah, trust me, people don't check raise 17 here.
Okay.
Most people have like, I don't like, this guy has 0, this guy has 0 out of 6, well, 0 out of 1. So yeah, this, like, people don't really have that in their game. So we can stab more here. Raise flop versus c-bet in position, 10%. I like this. Floater 41%. Here again, we can be a bit more aggressive. Probe river 59 on the aggressive side. I like it. It's good. Check raise flop 14%. This is, yeah, again, solid. And then bet turn after check raise 58. This looks good. Probe turn 32. Again, this is kind of okay GTO wise, but a lot of people have high fold to probes, to turn probes. Most people. So a lot of people don't check back flop strong enough. When they check back flop, they have a mixed strategy on the flop. They just see better strong hands and don't protect the check back range a lot. So I would actually be more aggressive. And I would look at this stat, fold to turn. Where is like the turn probe? I think this one. Yeah, fold to turn probe bet. I would look at this. A lot of people are overfolding here. So yeah, that's something I would also. It's interesting. Yeah, you still have high one was a flop, but these small spots like stabbing in position, stabbing turn, and also like delay c bet. You are passive in all of these small spots. You can see like these 3 numbers are all red, so you can be more aggressive in these small spots. And I don't know, maybe then you will have like 53 one was a flop or something. because you can definitely push more aggressively here.
But is it fine to become like almost a flop like 52 to 54?
No, that's kind of aggressive, but I mean, it's probably an approach that works, that exploits your player pool the best and makes you the most money.
Uh,
You probably have now one whistle flop because you're fighting for the bigger pots. I don't see you fighting for the smaller pots that much because you're not delay betting much, you're not stabbing much here, you're not probing much. So maybe you're fighting too much for the big pots, and that's where your high one whistle flop comes from. But you're not picking off these small easy spots. For example, here you have fold to delay c-bet 59, so like almost 60%, which is way too high. But, and this is a stat, like a lot of people have it like this. This guy has 83, 5 out of 6. And even then, you have like only 29 delay turn c-bet. So against someone like you, you should, against someone like you should delay c-bet a ton, but you're actually not delay c-betting much. And most people will be like this. Again, this guy has 5 out of 6, 83. So this is a leak of yours, but a lot of people will have this leak as well. And this is check raise versus the delay turn c-bet, 5%. Okay, it's fine. I'll try to have 6, 7, 8, but it's good. A lot of people also don't do this enough, students. So again, this guy is a good example. He has 0 out of 5. And this guy also has 0 out of 1, right? Yeah, I already know his sample. Yeah. So I think to conclude on your post-flop game, because right now we're basically looking at the statistics to see overall patterns in your game, and now we're gonna see like specific stuff, like we're gonna look at your video next. Yeah, I would say you should be more aggressive in small pots and attack weakness more, which is common when you're just focusing on the solver, trying to play like a solver a lot. You're not actively looking for pain points in population in your game, and your goal should not be, and if you guys are like in your games as well, your goals should not be to have the perfect stats, to wrap up on stats now. Actually, the biggest players in your winners in your pool, if you look at it, the biggest winners in your pool will have the most exploitative stats, usually over aggressive stats, and they will be all over the place. They will not have solid stats. If you have solid stats, you're not winning that much. And I challenge you, just like go now, just go whatever, just filter in your player pool, have some decent sample on them, like 10k hands or whatever, and go and see the biggest winners in the pool, see what stats they have, and they will see, oh, they are actually pretty out of line stats. That's how you win. You look for pain points in people and exploit people either by seeing their stats, knowing population, having population reads, having good instincts, but the goal should not be to have very nice looking stats. So I don't mind if your stats are out of line as long as I know, okay, yeah, these stats are actually good for population, because you're making more money than having normal stats here. But you're not making more money with being passive in these like frequent lines, basically. You should be actually on the aggressive side here. Okay, I think this is... Do you have any other questions when it comes to stats? Is this helpful?
Very helpful. Yes.
Okay, good to hear. Yeah, I would say from this it looks, yeah, again, like go for the small pots a bit more. Try to see when they are weak, and try to basically read into like when they are weak, and be a bit over aggressive there in those spots, instead of trying to think, okay, what does the solver do here? It's like, be like, okay, is this guy weak here or not, and go for it. Rasi, I see you asked a question in my Discord. Does it make sense to play GTO versus weaker as baseline versus weaker players, I guess, or pure exploit? I have no clue if I play the GTO ego perspective or just to calling ranges. Yeah, versus weaker players, I would definitely go for the exploits. The weaker the player, the crazier we can go with exploits. What's the problem with exploiting? With trying to exploiting means you know a weakness and you're attacking it. The problem, the danger, is that you get counter exploited. So and the exploit will give you way more EV than playing balanced or GTO. It will give you way more EV. But you're opening yourself up to being countered. Most people are not, especially if you think it's a weaker player, they're not capable of countering you. So yeah, a lot of people are paranoid. They're like, oh, I cannot play this, I cannot do this. This is exploit. This is I'm exploiting here, and I'm opening myself up. I can get exploited. Nobody is exploiting you. People are playing, I don't know, like 4, 5, 6 tables, not paying attention. They're watching YouTube on the side. Don't worry. People are not, gonna exploit you. Okay, so let's look at some hands from your video. You can see the screen, right?
Okay. Yes.
Who is this in your avatar, by the way?
It's Kevin Pack.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It's funny. Do you like him?
Yeah, I like his lifestyle.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
I think I think I coached him a bit when I was in Bluff the Spot. I think I coached him once or twice, or maybe he was after I left. And yeah, I know, like, he's very good now. Also my friend definitely coached him, MMA Sherdog.
Yeah.
Definitely coached him. Yeah, I know he's very strong now. He's a very good player. Okay, so that's what it is. That's that's funny. It's nice. Okay.
Daniel, sorry, but I can't see the
what?
I can see your monitor.
Oh, you cannot see my screen anymore?
Oh yeah, your screen.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna try switch screen or window. Okay, let's see. What about now? Can you see it on Skype?
Still no.
Okay, let me stop sharing and then share again. But you could see the poker tracker before, right? With the stats.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay, let's try again then. Start sharing. Drinking some black tea here, being refreshed. I had some intense leg training earlier. I had some nice breakfast, and now getting some black tea instead of. I don't drink coffee. So do you drink coffee?
Oh, I like coffee.
How many coffees do you drink a day?
Actually, one cup.
Okay, that's GTO. I think one is GTO. Okay, can you see my screen now? Let's see.
I can't see.
Wait, did you share yours? I think you shared your screen or something. Okay. One last try. If not, you can see it on YouTube on the live stream anyway.
Yeah, okay, I will see on YouTube.
Okay. Because this, I don't know why. This is weird. I stopped and then I reshared. But yeah, otherwise you can see it on YouTube. It will be a small delay, but should be fine.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Fresh. I know you were. I hope the video quality. Yeah, it's gonna be good enough to watch. I know we said like maybe we get a higher quality one, so I did not get to watch much of the. Yeah, I did not actually get to watch the footage. Normally, I watched it a bit beforehand, but it's good. Now we're gonna see. It's gonna be fresh. Let me mute the video. And let's see some of your play style, because from stats we kind of see we saw some stuff from the stats, but not a lot of big patterns coming up. So let's see now, like when we see some hands. Okay, let's speed it up a bit until we get some action. Zoom is very fast, so we will definitely have action. Okay, we open ace-10 suited. Okay, call, and we have a fish. Okay, I'm already hooked. Let's see. Mukesh, yeah, you guys can see the screen. Good. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Franz, he did not see my screen, but I guess now you can see it on YouTube, right, Franz?
Yes,
Okay.
I can see.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's see. We have ace-10 here against green is fish, right?
Yes, green is fish.
Oh, okay. Let's see what we do here. Okay. So what's your strategy here with ace-10 with the fish? What's your thought process? How do you decide? You bet 1/3. How do you decide here to bet 1/3?
Actually, I just click the button.
Okay, you should see the board, click the button, bet, press bet. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, this is because I'm trying to categorize you with when it comes to fish. I think there's in two big categories of players when it comes to playing versus fish. Players that play more like GTO, like their base strategies against the fish, and people who go like really hard exploit freestyle against the fish. My approach is like always freestyle against the fish because of what I said earlier. I think fish are just like weak and they cannot exploit you, so I would just try to exploit them to the max. So I'm not gonna play my here, for example, ace-5 deuce flush draw. I'm not gonna play my 1/3 range bet, or I've probably you cannot even range bet this board, but whatever. I'm not gonna play my default 1/3 strategy here. I'm gonna try to play my hand, whichever hand I have, for max value. So that means I will have different sizings, with different hands. Here ace-10. So I'm guessing basically you just play a standard strategy here, right?
Yes.
Okay. I would here I would look at my hand and think, okay, what's the best line I can take with my hand. So here ace-5 deuce ace-10. I think I can take, probably I can get like 2 streets of value of big bets somewhere. So I think ace-10 on the flop, I can definitely get value on the flop before the flop gets worse. Like a flush comes, a 3 or a 4, like another 5 or something, whatever. So I don't think I can triple barrel him for value on most runouts. So I would probably bet here more like 3.4 with a specific hand. If I have ace king, I would probably try to stack him. So I'll probably bet more like 4.8 or even 5 to build up the pot when he has a weaker ace, because fish like ace-x. They like to flat ace-x. So ace king, I would bet bigger. 5s and deuces, I would also bet big, especially unblocking the ace. I'll bet like 4.8 again, or like 5. Try to get his stack in 3 streets. But we will have probably other spots like this because it's NL50 zoom. We should have some more spots with the fish. And okay, he folds. Okay, I'm assuming this guy is full stack, maybe more like a reg. Wow, you have so many sizings here. It's nice. You have 60 and 67. Okay. Open to 0.5. Okay, clicking the overbet. Fold to flop c bet, 1 out of 1. Is this useful for you to see this? The 1 out of 1. We cannot really read into it, right? When you only have one sample. I guess you wanted to see how many hands, how much sample you have on him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know there's actually a bit of delay. Um, I see you're hovering over bet. Like, what's your strategy here? First of all, do we think this guy is a reg? I guess.
Actually, it's like looks like somewhat neat.
How many hands do we have on him? Like 260.
Yeah, maybe like 300 to like 200.
Yeah.
Somewhat small sample.
Okay. So yeah, he could be in it, but yeah, okay, maybe it's like more on the passive side, like more like on the nitty side. Um, which, yeah, okay, more on the nitty side when it's already 260 or like 300 hands. It's still a bit of sample to give us an indication. He can still be like, I don't know, like 23-18 and just run bad with hands, but yeah, most likely on the tighter side. So what's your strategy here on the flop on this board against him?
Maybe betting big and just folding out all of like 9x and weaker draws, ace highs, then
Okay.
usual equilibrium. Yes.
Um, what's your bet sizing here? I saw you want to overbet 1.25x.
Like 125% or like 75%.
How do you decide which one you do?
I do 75% in this video. I remember it.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, but what if it's like another video? Like, do you have like a set strategy for a board, for the board, or do you
Um,
more like improvise on the spot, look at your hand,
um,
or do you have like, okay, Jack 9-5, flush draw,
Jack 9-5.
cut off, big blind? Do you have a strategy on this board? Do you know what your sizing is gonna be, or do you freestyle it? Or do you know your sizing before?
Actually, I freestyle and mostly I stick to just use bigger sizing in this board.
Okay, it's good to have like a stable strategy. So knowing here, maybe okay, I'm just gonna go three quarters or check, because at higher levels, if you start having multiple sizings on the spot, like it's easy to just play what your hand wants to play, and it can become a bit transparent for other regs if they pay attention. But yeah, it's not a concern here, just something to keep in mind, to have more like coherent, like have a coherent strategy against decent regs at least, but something to keep in mind for the future. Okay, here Jack 9-5 flush draw. We are thinking about checking or betting. One thing when we're facing nitty guys, if I see this guy, let's say we have like 500 hands on him, and he's still like 13-10, which is insane. But I guess that's full ring stats, maybe like tight. He's even a need for full ring. So here we have to adjust to someone like this post flop and pre flop. So pre flop, I would start opening looser here instead of like 27-28 cutoff, standard cutoff opening range. I would probably go more like 32%. I would open, because he's gonna fold a lot. I'm gonna take his big blind a lot, so I'm gonna expand my range pre-flop to attack his big blind, because he's gonna be very tight and nitty. And post-flop, if he does call, like here, like he does call, I'm gonna be more careful. So I'm not gonna see bet too much into him.
Okay.
We have to readjust post-flop, because he will not have your solver. He will not have your solver ranges, like the big blind, defense versus cutoff. He will not have those ranges. So then your solver solution, your GTO solution, changes a lot when he's much tighter than your ranges. When you put in solver GTO strategies, whatever, when you have solver strategies, one of the most important factors will be ranges, the ranges you input. So that will change the solution a lot. That's why it's important against this guy. When he goes tighter, we should be more careful in general on the flop. So I guess someone like him, if you guys have like tight guys like this in your pools, open a lot pre-flop, but give him respect post-flop when he does call. Be more careful because you have a wider range than usual because you expanded to attack him, and he has a tighter range than usual. So that makes us be more passive.
Yes.
You still play poker, bro? Yes, I do still play poker. Texas Hold'em, no limit. Play. I actually got sucked out twice in 1 minute yesterday with kings versus aces, and I got two outered from the turn to river at the same time. Last two stacks there, really in like a few minutes before going out. So okay, let's see. You check back or okay, yeah, you actually do say you bet 3/4. I mean, it's a fine hand to bet with, having the club in your hand, having the not gut shot. Let's see. Okay, so a guy like this, when he defends, he'll probably have quite a bit more jack x than 9x and 5x, right? He's probably not going to defend that many 9x or 5x. So this turn really hits him, especially when you bet 3/4 spot. We should probably be pretty careful on this turn card. Let's see what we do. I have to keep reminding myself you're gonna see this. I wonder what the delay is from on the stream. Maybe like 10 seconds delay or something. GTO beard from Daniel. Thank you. This is my GTO beard, indeed. Okay, let's see. Okay, you're thinking about barreling. Do we barrel? Do we not barrel? Okay, we bet again. Yeah, I would probably again be passive here. Again, respect his strong range instead of betting here, because he has trips or flush. Like a big portion of his range would be a trips or flush. So I'll probably try to have. I would battle with a bit stronger, like maybe like queen 10 with a club, ace x with ace of clubs, like ace 10 maybe. Yeah, I would be careful here, to be honest, against this guy, especially against someone like him. Maybe, or we have king 10, which is a worse hand that we can bet. Okay, he calls, and okay, this is obviously a bad river, or is it? Let's see. So I think this is a good example of a river that we should really not really bluff on, because he has a full house very often, right? The 9 river. Okay, now the 9 just hit on the stream. Now I saw it as well. Yeah, so he will have a jack very often, which is like top full house. We're trying to make him fold a flush if we bet, and we have a flush blocker ourselves, so that's not very good to have on this run out. So bluffing here would be very ambitious. This would be a very good example of what we said at the beginning of the session, of trying to bluff people off of strong hands. Already on the turn, we're kind of like concerned on the turn, and he also calls another big bet on the turn. So I think his range will be very strong here. I would really under bluff someone like this on this kind of run out. Okay, you still bet. Okay. Okay. Yeah, don't care. Wow, okay, he folded. Wow, it worked. What did he fold? Did he fold the flush? I guess he folded the flush. You knew it. You had the soul ring.
I was thinking like this king queen just blocked their king jack and a queen jack, so it's like great to bluff.
Yeah, but what else does he have? Right, like what do we want him to fold? Like even a 9 now has a full house. Like what else? Like a flush, right? We're trying to make him fold a flush, which I guess he does have flushes, but we block some of them with our king. He doesn't have that many flushes compared to like Ace Jack, King Jack, Queen Jack, Jack 10. Yeah, we block some of those, some of the trips, but yeah, Jack 10, well, maybe Jack 9. Jack 8 suited, that's probably the worst Jack he has. Um, yeah, okay. Well, I'll have to give you credit. I did not really see someone bluff this run out in a very long time. So you did have the heart, but yeah, I would say, yeah, I don't want to have a club in my hand, and I would not try to bluff this guy who's very tight anyway, who will be heavily weighted towards Jack X. So yeah, one first thing I would write down here is like, yeah, maybe you're bluffing in spots where people have strong ranges or very strong ranges. Something I would be careful of, and maybe over bluffing even in those spots, because King Queen no heart or like Queen 10, because so here you, even if you do decide to bluff here, like, okay, let's say your thought process is I want him to fold something that is not a full house, like a flush. Then I would try to have I'll try to have like, to not have a club first of all. So yeah, more like something like Queen 10, King 10, no club. This one is nice in case if you would say, okay, he does not defend Jack 10, but Jack 10 offsuit, but he defends Queen Jack offsuit. Maybe this hand is better, but you still can do it without a club. I think King 10, Queen 10, those are, you have better candidates. So, but you still do it with this one, which shows me you're probably over bluffing a spot where people are under folding, which is not a good recipe.
Yeah.
So be careful in these kind of spots. Okay, let's see. Interesting first hands. A7 of clubs. Okay, I'm gonna tell MMA. I'm gonna tell you have Kevin Paquet as your avatar. He's gonna be tilted maybe. Okay, King 5-3 range bet. Opening Queen Jack. It's fine, especially in these games. Okay, probably. Okay, let's speed it up even more. I like VLC player for videos because I saw so many students' videos that now I know all the hotkeys for scrolling back, forward, making it faster, slower. Okay, we have a defend here. King 8. You defend King 8 suited, MPB blind. Versus Bill Clinton, it looks like.
Yeah, now I'm looking for King 8 suited.
Yeah, it will come up on the stream soon. Let's see now. Okay, it's there. Okay, so let's go back to the video. Okay, King 8, 5-5-7. Important note here for you and like you guys watching. I would look here. I'd go back to thinking, okay, what is his raise sizing pre-flop? Because based on his raise sizing, okay, it's 2.5. Based on his raise sizing, we will have more or less 5x. If he min opens, for example, we have a lot of 5x, right? If he min opens, we have 5 deuce suited, 5-3 suited, 5-4 suited, 5-6, 5-8, and so on. If he opens 3x, for example, we should really not have 5x. So here on this type of board with trips that he does not have, like he should have an ace 5, maybe king 5 sometimes, but mostly ace 5, 5-6, 5-4, maybe is low frequency. We will have here more trips than him usually. So based on how many trips we have, so based on his opening sizing, we will have more or less trips in our defending range, and that allows us to check raise more or less, like a higher or lower frequency. King 8 here, it's a decent hand to continue with. I would probably not So he opens 2.5x. That means we should probably have like probably low frequency 5-3 suited, 5-4, 5-6, 8-5 suited sometimes. Maybe not that much. King 5 suited that he does not have. Probably not Queen 5, Jack 5 that much. So we have some trips, but not that many compared to him. Not a big advantage. Now, when it comes to check raising, I would generally want to check raise more like lower showdown value. Maybe this one I would more like check call King 8 at a higher frequency. How do you decide here? Check raising versus check calling versus check folding?
Like I like texture like 5-5-7. People too much like range bet on this flop.
Yeah.
So I have some like backdoor flush draw plus straight draw. So like I think just click the button here too.
Okay.
Because they just overfold so much.
Okay, so you think so you're thinking he c-bets too much and overfolds too much, right?
Yes.
So you will be overly aggressive with your check raise.
Yes.
Okay, what if he calls?
Then like maybe I just give up on the like ace or queen
Okay.
and yeah.
Because I think that's a mistake. It's easy to do, and I think a lot of people do this when exploiting, where let's say you punish him for over c-betting and over folding, so that means he's not calling enough, right? He's not calling enough when you check raise, but that means when he does call, he's tighter than he should be. So that means you're over check raising flop, which means you're getting to the turn with more weaker hands, and he's under calling, he's over folding, which means he's getting to the turn with a stronger range than he should. So you're getting to the turn with a weaker range than you should normally, and he's getting to the turn with a stronger range. But what people do is like they still battle turn a lot. And that's when it comes to exploits, you should always exploit one street, but generally be careful and counter adjust, adjust the other direction on the next street, because the exploit we check raise a lot, he folds a lot, but then on the turn if he does call, then we should check more once we do this exploit. So you exploit in one direction, on the next street you counter in the opposite direction, because your ranges will be shifted a lot. That's something to be careful about.
Okay. I got it.
Hey, Mattia. Hey, what's up? Vasileus in the chat. Yeah, ShowOfForce coaching, good old times. Yeah. Yeah, that's it's like some nice holiday spirit coaching style here for Run Good. Okay, so he did fold. 2023 Run Good, bringing it on. Okay, folding. Oh, okay. Pocket deuces. Okay, I guess we range bet. You you do click other buttons first, which throws me off. So you'll see it will come up on the stream soon. But basically, we have ace king 5 rainbow. We open pocket deuces and he calls small blind, big blind. And then on ace king 5 you click overbet, but then you go back to like quarter pot bet. I don't know if you're like actually considering these sizings or you're just like clicking around.
I was considering, yes.
How? Like, how do you decide between like, actually I'm gonna overbet, nah, I'm gonna go quarter pot. Like, how do you decide?
I don't want to be like so
predictable. All right.
I mean,
Are you typing in Google Translate right now?
yes.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I think like I recognize like filming a video,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to
Ah,
try to play too like yeah
too basic or what?
spew yeah too spewy types.
Oh, okay. Well, you should play your normal game. Well, I did not. I think maybe I did not tell you this, but yeah, you should have. Yeah, you should play your normal game because that's how we see we see like your leaks, and we can best address. Because normally, yeah, you want to play like the way you normally play when you record a video like this, so we can see your normal leaks. Uh, yes, Mattia, I do feel like overbetting sometimes, but a lot of times, but I don't. I don't do it. Actually, nowadays I am overbetting quite a bit. Um, so okay, then so that's the thing. Like that's another thing I would write down for you. Like have, especially against regs, just have standard strategies that you know you're gonna play. They can be simple. You don't have to go crazy over bets or crazy stuff. Don't worry. You don't have to be too fancy. Here I am range betting. Most people I know, people at high stakes, they're range betting for quarter pot. Most people at high stakes range bet for quarter pot here. Don't don't worry. Um, you don't. That's not how you gain EV. That's not how you make more money by overbetting Ace King 5 Rainbow here. Um,
Uh,
yeah, don't focus on this. Don't. A lot of people think the fancier they play, the more money they will make, which is not true. Especially at lower stakes, people have the feeling they have to play more fancy. Um, no, if you play like you make more money, yes. If you play fancy, which is hard to play against, that will force them make a lot of mistakes to make a lot of mistakes. So fancy plays can work if you study them a lot, if you really know what you're doing, study those strategies, but not make them up on the fly. Study the strategies and you see, oh, okay, the reactions to these fancy plays are very hard to implement, and most people will make big EV mistakes. Then maybe it's worth it. You will probably still fuck up executing on them, but maybe it's worth it. But don't play fancy just to play fancy. Some fancy plays are not hard to play against, and you're just causing trouble for yourself. So, for example, here, Ace King 5, if you overbet, it's not that hard to react from him. Like, he should just call an Ace or King and mix, fold some gut shots. It's not like a hard to play strategy, but then you have to play turn and river out of position afterwards. So
yes.
more EV will come from not even fancy strategies, but knowing where people make mistakes and capitalizing on those mistakes. That's where I would put way more energy on when I'm playing, trying to see where people are making mistakes and exploiting those mistakes instead of like having these crazy strategies. So yeah, don't worry about overbetting too much.
Okay.
Okay, so here pocket deuces, then we should just range bet this board out of position here. 3-betting jacks. Okay, 5. A big mistake people do here, blind versus blind. They don't check turn enough. Yeah, blind versus blind is pretty hard to play. That's the small blind. Big common mistake is people not checking turn. They basically play it like they were the button, but you're not the button. If you check, you don't see the river for free. If you check, you can still face an overbet. So and you need to have check raises. So for that reason, especially after range betting, we have to check small blind way more than we would check in position on the button. But okay, we get the 5 of spades on the turn, 5 pairing. Now like we chop with every ace X, so we can check a lot here on the turn. 5 is not that good for us. He will have a lot of 5x. 5-6 off, maybe some 4-5 offsuit, 5-7 suited, 5-8 suited, a lot of 5x that you don't open and he will have. So this is a turn we should be pretty careful on. I would guess you are gonna check, but I'll not be surprised if I see a bet. No, okay, you check.
Yeah.
Okay, not too spazzy. Okay, then I would say easy check fold. We should have ace x, king x for checking here. Some trips to check raise with, and other stuff. Okay, so I think this was a good example. Next hand, you'll see now on the screen for the stream with delay. King 9 suited. This is an example of what I was talking about earlier. I would 3-bet this against the fish. King 9, yeah, just now. You can see it. When fish min opens, which is already looks weak, you have him marked as a fish. He has a football as his avatar. He's definitely a fish. So that's like fish or like baby faces, or this dog face as well. This is also a classic fish sign, like a picture of their dog. Exception being MMA share dog. He's the exception. So, but he does have dog in his name, so he needs a dog avatar. Rest in peace, Toby. Never be forgotten. King 9 suited. So yeah, this is very important. I would 3-bet here. Very, like, you don't even think about 3-betting. You're like, see the hand, King 9 suited. Yeah, just like, okay, you actually do wait more than 2 seconds. But this is a spot where we have a chance to play in position versus the fish in a heads up pot. Again, we should take these chances. Even King 9 suited, it's not even that crazy. This is a 3-bet. This hand is mixing 3-bets in this position. So yeah, even David in the chat is like, I saw the fish. So you should I actually, David with the soothing voice, the most soothing voices in the chat.
David the soothing voice.
Yeah. Pocket 5s here. I would look, you mix, I guess you mix open. Pocket 5s. I would look who's in the big blind. If the fish is in the big blind, I would expand my range, even under the gun. So yeah, one big thing for you as well, again, is playing against the fish more often. So isolating, 3-betting, playing more heads up pots, and playing exploitative against the fish. Okay, let's see some more action. Bill Clinton, is he gonna open? No. Okay, gonna split it. Oh, okay, I had... Nice, wait, we flop a straight. Okay. So we open Queen Jack button, big blind defense. We don't really have stats on him. Maybe a reg. I would also... Okay, yeah. So yeah, I would also... That's what you did as well. I would also hover over to see what country he's from. Montenegro.
Yes.
Probably a reg. Let's see how you play Queen Jack here, the nuts. Okay, small bet. How do you decide like to bet small here with Queen Jack? What's your thought process, or like what's your strategy? What's your thoughts here?
In this situation, I mostly range bet.
Okay.
In this texture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any like super specific strategy in this spot.
Okay, well, range betting is a strategy, so it's fine as an answer, but I would not range bet this board. I think it's a bit too connected. It's on the higher side, which is good because she should not have 10s and 9s really. Even 8s he should 3-bet sometimes. So that's what's good for us. We do have 10-9 off, which is fine. It's rainbow, which is again helps. Normally I would bet half pot and I would mix this board. But okay, you decide to range bet this. I'm not sure we can range bet this, but let's see how it goes. So we bet 1/3 with the nuts. He calls pretty fast. Oh, this is interesting. This is very interesting. Actually, I was looking yesterday. I was reviewing a hand like this with MMA, where there was one to a straight and the guy had a higher straight and he barreled over bet.
Yeah,
versus
I know it
MA,
too. So
which is like an exploit. It's like an obvious exploit. Checking and setting the trap. Yeah, that's also an option. Wait, you. So I mean, this is again interesting. You go for like 2.5x spot. You go to like 1/3 pot. How
yeah.
how do you decide the sizings? It seems like do you? I don't know. How do you decide? Like okay, so like the 7th turn. I'm not saying it's a bad sizing, but how do you decide? Like how do you go from like 2 times pot to like 1/3 pot? Like how do you make the decision? That's I'm curious about like the thought process.
Cause we can bet this at the same time like ace five of diamonds and like some of flush draw, and we have a nuts, so can just polarize ourselves to nuts or just flush draw. So I just yeah, trying to go for that one, but like betting 1/3 on this turn is fine. So I just chose the standard one.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the thing is, we have the nuts we have the flop nuts, and we have a 14 BB pot, um, which is not great. Um, so it, you are trying to play balance. Like I don't mind like the turn sizing. I don't mind if we bet like small, like 1/3 or half pot, because yes, like he will have a lot of Jack X, 6X himself. But I would not really care. I don't know, against these guys, especially. I don't have a read on him. I don't have stats on him. The careful option is just to like bet small, like pie, or like bet half pot or something. But I think a better option is just like to go big. And once like when he has a 6 or a Jack, he's not folding anyway, and we have the higher straight, which he never has. So yeah, I would actually. I like the. Okay, I definitely like the 2x pot more than the 1/3 here. But yeah, I
Okay.
would go more like pot size, over bet, something like this. Build up the pot, make him like punish him when he has a jack. So here under in this similar spot on the turn, there was a reg. I don't remember his name. Actually, no, I remember it, but doesn't matter. On the turn, he also won. Let's say he was in your shoes basically, and MMA he was in the big blind. He made it like 1.5x pot here on the turn, which is not correct. Like he should not do that, like 1.5x pot. But he had the your equivalent. He had the higher straight, so basically he was pricing like from he had the one card straight. He was trying to get max value when he does have the one card straight. So I think that's something you can take you can take away. Like even at high stakes, he did not care about what was the solver solution here. And going back to what you said about choosing the sizing, talking about like you can bet ace five of diamonds here and the other draws, whatever. Um, when you're constructing your sizing from a theory standpoint now, you should
Yes.
first think about your value hands. Does your value range, so the hands that want to bet, what what does your value range want to bet here in terms of sizing? And then you just add bluffs to that sizing. You should not make your sizing for your bluffs. Your sizing should be constructed around your value range. So here,
Ah,
in theory, yeah, like in theory, I would say, okay, I still want to bet sometimes sets and stuff, like yeah, maybe like a set, maybe sometimes two pair, but maybe like a set would be like the most common hand I would like still bet here. So I want a sizing that has like more like half, probably like more like half pot. I used to go 1/3, but I think half pot is fine um, for those hands. And then I would balance that out, like ace five of diamonds. I would still go the same sizing, but when we construct sizings, we should construct it around our value range. Um,
okay.
are there any textures where you implement block sizing in a single race spot? Uh, yeah, more out of position maybe. Out of position, way more blocking. In position, not that much blocking to be honest. Doesn't really happen. 3-bet pot here, mostly using geometric sizing. Yeah. Yeah, imposition doesn't really block that much in general, especially as the PFR. Um, it uses it because it can check back. A block sizing is good for being out of position, buying yourself a cheap showdown or a cheap like street, forcing him to like preventing him from like making a bigger bet himself in position. But when we are in position, we don't need to do that. So we will check or bet big. It's more like check or bet big. Blocking is more for out of position. But yeah, that's for constructing your sizing. So the theory sizing, that's how I would construct it. But here, I would probably try to exploit these guys. I would not really respect anyone probably in this pool. And I would try to get max value from my hand. So I would try to get the most money for when he does have a jack. So I'd probably go like at least half pot flop on the turn, really over bet to tax a jack or a 6, and then another big bet on the river. I think we're just losing value in order to play balanced here, which is a very common mistake.
Okay.
Let's see. At least now. I want to see a bigger sizing. The thing is, one thing I would also be looking at is like, okay, once I bet turn, let's rewind a bit. Like I would say, okay, once I bet turn, how fast does he call? Because again, looking at size, like at timing tells, this is something I'm more careful. I'm looking more lately as well. Because if he calls fast, he doesn't really have a jack. Yeah, so he calls pretty fast. So it's more likely he has a weak hand, like 2-pair or like a 6. I think a jack would at least consider calling, raising against your small bet. So with that read, I think probably he's kind of weak here. So yeah, I'll not go for a huge size. If he tanks more, I would. If he tanks more on the turn, I would go for a big sizing here. Yeah, so he does fold to a river battle. Maybe he folds anyway. But I will not do a big sizing based on that read. Main idea would be that, especially for you and other guys as well. By the way, we have 21 viewers, only 14 likes. Let's get these likes up for the exploits. Come on. Yeah, one thing here, I would say, be careful about like losing it. I see this a lot, just like compromising, losing value, just to be balanced. For this like paranoia of like, oh, I don't want to be exploited, I don't want to play too exploitative, or just like open myself up to exploits. But you're losing way more by losing value than you would lose by getting countered. People don't really like. If I see you if I see you overbet turn there with Queen Jack, okay, fair enough. Like I'm not gonna be in a similar spot to you, with you like too soon. Like in that same spot, I'm not gonna be in that same spot very soon. And even then, like they have to know, okay, what should they do against that read? It's actually pretty hard to come up for most people here. They'll say, oh, they will be like, oh, he did milk me for the most value, and then like they just move on to the next hand. So be careful about like compromising, just like losing value just to be GTO, to be balanced. Don't be too sneaky. Just when you have the nuts, just try to get the max value, especially when they still can have strong hands themselves. Don't worry about only
getting exploited.
Yeah, don't worry about getting exploited. Yeah, basically. Okay, 18 likes. Okay, I like it. This is better. Yeah, let's see. People going 3x. Queen Jack should be okay. Never mind. Okay, let's see a few more spots, and then we can wrap it. How long have we been going? Okay, 1 hour and a half. That's fine. Let's see, Jack 7. Post flop spots are interesting. Something I'm noticing again, you don't have preset strategies you're sticking to. but you're also not really exploiting people much. So yeah, I would try to exploit people more and not lose value with my strong hands so far. Okay, 7-8. So this is another interesting example of, I'm not saying you should necessarily 3-bet 7-8 suited here, but the reg should open wider because there's the fish in the big blind. So it is our supreme duty to punish the reg here by 3-betting wider as well. We cannot let him play with the fish all day long like he wants. No, I would 3-bet him. Let's say I 3-bet like 14% here. I would 3-bet like 16, 17% because I know he will open wider. So we cannot let them play around with the fish. That is our sacred duty. In terms of hands, I would try to probably take more like blocker hands to get looser with blocker hands like ace x, king x. So like king 9 suited, king 8 suited, king 7 suited maybe. Something like that. A lot of all the ace x suited. So I would expand my range, but I would probably more like do like blocker stuff. Maybe some king 10 off if I'm feeling frisky. Okay. Queens.
I'm still in 7-8 suited.
Yeah, it's fine. You yeah, you remember what, yeah, you know what I said, so you don't have to see the spot. It's like when button opened, you know what I mean, right? What I was referring to.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, jack 10 again, going for the range bet. It's fine on this board. Yeah, so cutoff, we open cutoff, big blind defense, and we range bet. Okay, and he makes a small raise. He's probably a fish. I see you don't really have stats on a lot of these people. Probably this is a fish sizing. He should not. Okay, he's from Hungary. He should he should raise big on this board. So yeah, don't think that's a thing. We call. He checks to you. Okay. We check back. Okay. I like the check back, it's fine. We still have like way more, like we could sometimes maybe turn this into a bluff if we think he's just ace x heavy, he has like some ace 10, maybe ace queen. As his strongest hands. Like if he has a very strong hand, he's not gonna check raise small and check turn. So we can apply a lot of pressure, but we have hands to apply pressure with like king 10, king queen, queen 10, 10 8, 10 9, 8 9, backdoor flush draws. So yeah, we should again look into, take into account that he's probably weak, very weak here, and put extra pressure on, because the six doesn't change anything and he checks. And so yeah, I would probably put on some pressure. So if I don't have a hand. Okay. He bets half pot. Okay. Problem is he does have an ace very often, or a give up. We do have ace x ourselves, like ace deuce through ace 9. I'm guessing you're gonna check back as well. Then again, he can have a lot of draws as well that he was just giving up. There's a lot of draws on the flop. And he does bet small. Yeah, I don't mind if we look him up. The issue is like with a 10, I'd rather have something like king jack. With a 10, we really block so many missed draws, like queen 10, king 10, 10 8, 10 9. Like, yeah, I don't really want to have a 10 in my hand. So maybe I'll just fold this one. I would not try to bluff him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's like, see, you're already like, I like that you are always considering all your options. Raise, call, fold.
Yes.
You have to call the jack then. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so convinced. Well, you have like in theory, yes, you should definitely call in theory, but I'm, yeah, I'm not. I think having a 10 is very bad if we're gonna call. I would rather call like other hands, like even a weak. I would rather call like a weaker jack than jack 10 before jack 10. So I would rather call like queens, kings, king jack, queen jack, like, and then like lower jacks. I think jack 10 specifically blocks too many missed draws. Okay, king jack suited, we open, we get 3-bet. Wait, we folded. I would not
Yeah,
fold
I folded.
king jack suited here. Is it a fold in the GTO wizard charts?
No, no. So I was thinking like most of population just their 3-bet range in big blind is so strong.
Mm.
So king jack suited just getting dominated so easily, so I just folded.
Okay, very good. Then I really like your explanation and I really like your adjustment. Smart. Okay,
Okay.
good. Yeah, with that reasoning, yes, I do like the fold. Yes, yeah, I would rather, yeah, okay. I think these guys are in the too tight big blind UTG 3-bets.
Yes.
So I would overfold, especially these kind of fans. And if I'm calling more like 6-7 suited before I'm calling king jack, which is dominated. Okay, good. Okay, have the queens, or more notoriously known as mamacitas. Lately, we get 3-bet by the fish. Kind of a fish. I mean, he's playing 2016. I would not say this guy is a fish. More like fish reg. In 1K hands. So, yeah, he's on the tighter side. I don't mind. With the read from before, I don't mind just calling queens in position. I guess his 3-bet is 9. I guess you have VPI PPFR 3-bet in your HUD. Is that the order of your stats? Like 2016 9. I think this is a 9. This is like the 3-bet percentage after the VPIP and PFR in your HUD.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay.
It
Yeah,
is.
so probably he's not 3-betting much. Okay, king 5. He bets small, we call. Pretty straightforward. Okay, half pot bet. Bit concerning, but I don't know. It is concerning. The thing is, he's a tight player, 2016. I would look at his battle turn. I would look at his one was off flop, like how aggressive he is. Because here, like, he has to bluff unnatural hands. He has to bluff stuff like ace 10 suited, ace jack suited, ace queen suited, queen 10, queen jack suited. If he 3-bets those, like some hands that basically don't have equity, and I think especially tight players have issues finding those kind of bluffs. We also block some flush draws which he can bluff. Then again, that said, maybe he can still value bet jacks here. With queens, I'm fine with calling again, but I would be careful with other like weaker hands.
Yes.
Okay, that's a good river for us. Okay, he shoves. Whew. Huh. Well, we're basically beat by aces, which he can definitely have. We're basically hoping he has jacks, and we win. I don't think I can fold queens here. I mean, he can have ace king, just like four combos of ace king, 6 of aces. If he always plays aces like this, 10 combos. But then again, if he has 10 combos and then like he always has jacks, which is again like 6 combos, then you can, like, doesn't have to be necessarily a bluff. It can be hands you're beating. when you're thinking about bluffs and value. So yeah, if he always has jacks like this, then I think we cannot fold. Wow, amazing. This is an anime bluff. I like it.
Anime bluff.
Yeah, with the anime avatar. Do you watch anime?
Something like, yeah, I saw. I like anime.
Okay, good. I have my student earlier, my student in the chat, Vasilius. He likes One Piece. Do you know that?
Yes, for sure.
He's
I know One Piece.
he's a big fan. I watched some Naruto in my day. Naruto fan.
Yeah.
Somewhat. Okay,
Yeah.
Jack 10 suited. So very ambitious bluff. I like it. He blocks jacks and tens, which should be your best call down hands.
Yes.
I am impressed. I would definitely, yes, okay, very good. I would definitely take a note on that he's capable of bluffing finding unnatural bluffs in 3-bet pots. Yeah, so I would not necessarily take a note on the specific on this specific line. You can try to like take a note on the line, but I would more take into account the tendencies. Like, okay, he can find bluffs on boards that it's hard to find bluffs on. Chances are, if he has jacks as well, then he's definitely you could definitely never fold. But the thing is, the fact that he had one bluff, maybe Jack 10 suited is his one bluff, then he can still be under bluffing. Like, let's say he only battles Jack 10 suited for 4 combos, but then he has aces, ace king, king queen suited, king jack suited, queens, jacks. That's a ton of value combos. What, let's say, so aces, queens, jacks, 18, ace king suited, 22, sorry, ace king, 22. Let's say he has like around 26 combos and he bets pot size. He needs like 13 bluffs. Jack 10 suited is only 4. So
Yes.
he still has to find another 9 bluffs there, which is, well, okay, let's say he does not bet all of them like that, triple barrel. Let's say maybe he has 20, but he still has to find 10 bluffs, which is pretty hard. Like Jack 10 suited, Queen Jack suited is 8, then he would still have to do it with Queen 10 suited as well. So just a reminder, if you guys see a bluff here, doesn't mean he's over bluffing. He could be competent enough to find bluffs in some spots, but he could still very easily be under bluffing that spot. Where am I? Is this an anime stream? Yes, of course. David. Hey Daniel. Hey David. Yeah, we're gonna do an anime special after this. Anime review. I'm gonna review France's favorite anime after this. Okay. What is your favorite anime? I want to see if I heard of it.
It's Death Note.
Oh, Death Note. Okay, I know about it. I know anime series. I know anime names. I did not watch a lot of them, but I know the names. I know a lot of anime titles. Okay, Death Note.
Death Note is fun.
I know it's a very popular one, Death Note. I know Adesanya watches, Israel Adesanya watches Death Note. So that's a sick brag to watch Death Note. Very manly anyway. But yeah, okay, so just like a very important note here that he's capable of doing that, but he can still be under bluffing that spot. But at least he did find a bluff. So in these kind of spots, I would take note on their tendency, maybe underhand as well, but the tendency overall, because you're not gonna get that board again against him. So more about he can find bluffs in spots where it's hard to find bluffs.
Right.
Okay, pocket 10, so we get 3-bet. Uh, Yoshiteru Kawahara. That's Yoshiteru. I don't know how do you pronounce that. Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man. Is that an anime as well? Every time you say anime, I will open shop one stack. Okay, I'll try to, in the spirit of the holidays, to say anime as much as possible. Headphones is like Sony XM4, I think. I use them for the noise cancelling stuff. They're pretty comfortable as well for calls as well. But today I have my professional microphone for you guys. Getting France, and you guys are getting a nice treatment. Normally in my coachings and my calls, I just have my Bluetooth headphones. Okay, let's see. Pocket tens here. Cut off button. We defend. And we get c-bet on the flop. This is another spot where a lot of people struggle playing out of position 3-bet pots as the caller, because we do have to do quite a bit of check raising. It's just uncomfortable to play. So for example, like in terms of check raising here, I would think, how well do I hit the board? How many 6x do I have? How many 6x do you have here, Franz?
Actually, like 6-7 suited and 6-5 suited is the only one.
Okay, so we have 6-5, 6-7 for like 4 combos. The board being a flush draw is also makes us want to check raise more. We have a bit more like flush draws than on rainbow boards. Obviously, rainbow boards are worse for our suited hands. Even if so. A lot of people here are uncomfortable check raising because they think, oh, I have to go with my hand if I check raise, like even like, I don't know, pocket 7s here, pocket 5s, pocket 8s. But check raising for protection here is actually pretty reasonable to make him fold his king queen, queen jack, some ace jack, ace queen type of hands that they still have like 6 overcards to your pocket pair. So it's still good, especially the more you hit. A small secret here, the more you hit the board, the more strong hands you have on this board, the more you can, higher frequency you can check raise. Pocket tens here, the diamond is pretty nice hand. You can check raise this sometimes, and in terms of sizing, we don't need to make it that big. I'll make it so he makes it half pot, 7.8. I'd make it 19, something like this, just enough to make him fold his overcards. That's my goal here. Check calling is fine as well. We don't have, like you said, we don't have many strong hands. But now we can donk this turn. But that's a bit more of an advanced strategy. You don't need to donk. You can just check always. This turn is pretty good for us. We have flushes, flush draws that now have a flush. And the 9 does not really improve his c-betting range. And we are weighted. We still have quite a bit of pocket pairs. So a small donk here. Like this turn card is definitely better for our range. This a small donk here is pretty nice for again getting him to fold a lot of overcards with no diamond. But it's fine. We check again and let's see what the masked lady will do. He checks back. How big do you donk? 1/3? No, I would donk like 5th pot, like 20%. But well, it's something I'm experimenting with lately. There's actually quite a bit of donking going on in 3-bet pots, but you have to study it more in depth. Just checking always is fine. Not having a donking range is fine, as long as because you have to study. If you donk, you have to study like he raises. What do you do when he raises? What do you do when he calls? What sizings do you use river? So it opens up another. Like quite a few issues. Okay, queen checks back, queen river. Blocking is fine. I think he will have quite a bit of ace queen like this. The queen hit him a lot. Well, king and ace I would definitely check a lot. Queen is kind of in between. As we said earlier, blocking happens quite a bit out of position, so Yeah, I think blocking is fine. How do you exploit this spot? X-rep is check raise, check raise flop more often or donking turn? I think a better exploit is having donks on the turn because you cannot check raise a board that much when you don't have a lot of strong hands. You don't really even have a set, you just have trips. So yeah, that's I think having donks is better on the turn. Basically donking a lot of small turns, low turns that don't improve him, especially if they improve you. So like nines, we probably do have nines, a 7 or an 8, a diamond especially is also good. So basically a 7 or 8 or a 9 of diamonds is probably something that makes us donk quite a bit. If you look into that, but not necessary. Not necessary, don't worry. Okay, getting up to 23 likes with 27 viewers. I'm getting some good ratio. People like seeing you play, France. They like your style. Let's see your style here with okay, so like we have King Jack open by the fish, but I don't know why you keep tagging these guys as fish. This guy plays 22-18 and he has a full stack. How do you decide if someone is a fish or
not? Just when I saw some weird play, then I just tag him as fish.
Okay. What? Okay. Yeah. I would. Yeah. Well,
maybe I have to change it.
Yeah. Exactly. So I would say because. So okay, better tagging system that I use, I would suggest for you and like people watching as well, because that's why I wanted to do it live. I told France as well that maybe we can interact with the chat as well and like help other people out as well. He's benefiting the most obviously because we're addressing his game, but I think a lot of the stuff most of the stuff applies to everyone watching. So it's cool to interact with others as well in the meantime. But yeah, when it comes to note taking, just like having color codes, I would have 2 tags for fish. I would have one for just like a standard fish, like a playable fish, a fish that is actually nice to play against. So a loose fish, that would be, for me, that's someone who has, well, I play a lot on GG as well, which has high rake. So because of the high rake, the fish has to be bigger. But let's say the fish should have like 35 or higher VPIP PFR. VPIP, sorry, like 35 plus VPIP. Or he has to be losing like 30 BB per 100. If I have, let's say if you guys have like stat name or you look him up somewhere, smart hand, whatever. So yeah, either minus 30 PB per 100 or 35 PIP plus, that's what I would mark as a fish. Or of course there is the exception, they play like less than 35 PIP, but they're still like spazzing around like a whale. Of course, that's still a fish. But then I would have the second mark, which is the fish, like the fish reg mark, or I call it uninteresting fish mark, which is just tight fish, like fish regs, people that like fish that I don't know, like 28, 15 or this kind of stuff, where they're not really losing that much and they're not worth to have at your table. So I would have a separate tag for those ones to separate them. So this guy is 22.8. This guy, so it's for people who are not fish, like we said earlier, like we defined earlier, but they're not regs. They're not regs either. So more like fish regs, but not good fish to play against. But this guy looks like a reg. 22.18 looks more like a reg. Okay, King Jack suited. I would sometimes 3-bet this hand. 40 and 5. That's a very good fish to play. For example, VPIP, PFR 40 and 5. Yeah. But yeah, this guy is probably a reg. He range bets. Sometimes I would check raise this. Calling is fine. I think I check raise too much in these spots personally. I like check raising. Fast check back. important to see. Okay, like he. Okay, not very fast, but yeah, somewhat fast check back. How do you feel about your hand here, Franz? Do you think you're ever beat?
I think it's like King Jack here is so strong versus this guy.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Well, there's the stream delay, but yeah, right. So when he checks back on a 7 here, like his range will be very weak. This opens up, like we can put a lot of pressure, especially like with bluffs as well. If we have some like King 10 suited, King Queen backdoors that we check call flop, we can put a lot of pressure on this guy. Here King Jack, I think we can Queen Jack plus Jack, even maybe Jack 10 plus. I think we can easily overbet here for value. But especially if we have a bluff, I would overbet here, because I think it's just not strong enough. So I would either have a block bet or an over. This is one of those spots where I would have a block bet or an overbet. 3/4 that doesn't accomplish much. Like a good jack or better, I would overbet, or like something like a weak jack or like 10s and 9s, 8s, I would block bet. Again, like we said earlier, we're first thinking about the value hands when we're constructing our betting range sizings, and then we balance those out with bluffs. What is my plan on the turn when we check raise flop? Mostly checking. On these kind of boards, when we continue turn, it will be mostly 2-pair or better, and we mostly overbet or check. So the plan would be to check raise, check in general. Okay, you go 3/4 and he folds because he does not have anything. Okay, ace jack. You min open ace jack. Was that or is that your sizing for MP with ace jack?
No, it's like I just only use 2.5x, but maybe it's like error, program error.
Okay, so it's like a misclick or something. Okay, and we get 3-bet to 8. Calling is fine. Okay, 6-4 deuce. Again, I would think, this is how I would approach these kind of spots. I would think, okay, what are my strong hands here? Pocket 4s, deuces you probably don't have. Maybe you have some 6s sometimes, or half the time. Pocket 4s, maybe not that much. So we only have like one set realistically that does not allow us to check raise that aggressively. Do you have pocket 4s or 5s here, Franz?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Full frequency?
Yeah, somewhat frequency.
Okay. Yeah, if we have 6s and 4s, like at a decent frequency, we can check raise quite a bit. Again, we're thinking about the value hands first. Then we think, okay, the more we check raise with the value hands, obviously we have to play the bluffs in the same way. We cannot check raise the value hands and we cannot check call the value hands and check raise the bluffs, stuff like this. We have to, in theory, again, theoretically, if we have a read to exploit, go for the exploit, guys. Okay, again, people betting half pot. With your hand, I think check raising is fine, check calling is fine. I would maybe check call more like a weaker flush draw that you don't want to get the money in with, but the not flush draw, you're fine with getting the money in with. So yeah, more like 7-8, like 7-8 combo draw, that's also fine to get the money in with, but maybe like queen jack, jack 10 if you have that, king 10, king jack, it's a bit worse to get the money in with. So I would prefer check raising this one, check calling that one. But yeah.
Sorry.
No, go
Sorry
ahead.
about just.
No, go ahead.
I really want to donk on this turn, but I just skipped.
Well, it's fine. Like most people don't study donking. Yeah, this is a very good turn for us. We pick up a lot of equity, 6-7, pocket 7s, pocket 5s, 6-5 has open-ended plus pair. So yeah, this is a very good turn for us, especially when he bets half pot. He makes us fold a lot of our overcards. which makes us more heavily weighted towards pocket pairs, strong hands. But he still has the overcards that he bet with on the flop. So that's why it is a good turn card for donking. But yeah, don't worry about it. Like, you don't have to donk, but it's just interesting, good to know the concept. But if you want to incorporate this kind of donking, you would have to study it quite a bit. Like, you run some sims, see how much we're donking on which turns, what is the strategy after donking, what if we get raised, what if he just calls and the turn is like river is a king, river is an ace, river is like another deuce, what are your sizings? So you have to be prepared to like study the strategy beforehand. That being said, I do like a check shove here. If we like, I don't think we can fold, and it is still like, if we don't donk when he bets big here, I do like check shoving. To be honest, I'm kind of scared. Like, I don't think he will fold, but we can try. Either way, even if he calls, we have pretty good equity. Probably our ace is live, and we have 9 outs from the flush, so we have like 12 outs. Yeah, I don't like the call as much. Okay, I only like the call if we think he's definitely not. He's never folding, but I think he can fold sometimes here. People can fold sometimes, so I would shove turn. I see you thought about it. I know you always think about every option. But you end up calling. You RNG the call. Yeah, so yeah, here he has jacks. Maybe he folds jacks. The thing is, even if you call and the river is a diamond, I think he will check back a lot, especially like on a lot of diamond rivers, like on an ace, on a king, probably if he doesn't have it beat. I mean, an ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, 5 of diamonds, 8 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds, 3 of diamonds. There's a lot of diamond rivers where you don't get extra money from him, even if you do hit.
Yes.
Or like on an ace. So you don't have, your implied odds are not that great. So yeah, I would just rather check shove and push some fold equity if I think I have some,
But
because I'm not getting paid. Yeah.
but sometimes you just go to showdown versus like king queen of like maybe like river bricks, and he have some king eye and we have some ace eyes, and just won the pot.
Yeah, I don't think that happens enough. I think that's very rare that people battle like even a king queen high. That's just like 4 combos, king queen suited. Well, a king queen beats you here, but yeah, yeah, I think that doesn't happen enough. I think his sizing looks more like an overpair, or I mean that's fine as well. Like, even if you make that hand fold, because maybe he battles it on the river, on a lot of rivers, maybe he battles that through and he makes you fold the better hand. So I think in this spot specifically, cutoff versus MP3 bet, I think people don't have enough weak hands to battle you through. I think people under bluff turn here. So yeah, I don't think we're good enough on the river with ace jack. I don't think we win. They either battle through and we have to fold our ace high, or they have something like this, like they check back and they still win. So I don't think it happens often enough that we win with ace high somehow.
Okay.
Is it better to check raise flop or turn? If you have 6s and 4s, I like check raising flop, getting the money in on the flop with pretty solid equity. Or if I don't check raise flop, I think check shoving turn. Yes, Ben Anderson, we are live, Mr. Anderson. All right, let's see two more hands, because we have been going for like 2 hours. Let's see like maybe like 2 more spots. Have 22 people here in the mix. Let's see if people on Discord are saying anything. Okay, I will answer Razi. I will answer the question on Discord. I will answer it afterwards. I think that's something that's gonna be nice to wrap up on.
Yep.
In the meantime, you can think about if you will have like other questions for me, other poker questions, Franz, or anime questions. It's fine as well.
Anime questions.
Yeah. You can ask me who is my favorite character in Naruto or something. Okay, so
I should written it down beforehand.
yeah. So here 10-9 suited, fish opens. We 3-bet. I would 3-bet bigger. I think 5.5. I mean, this is kind of like a GTO sizing for like short stackers, or like against. It's still kind of small, but yeah, I just make it 7. Even if it's like 48 BB effective, I'll make it like 7. Yeah, and we get called for bet small again. I mean, okay, by a reg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would call this. I mean, it's just like a very small sizing, and we have a nice hand. My hand plays nice. We keep flopping flush draws. Okay. Is the coaching free? Yes, he does get free coaching because I ran a Christmas promotion in my Discord, and he won the promotion. I said I'm gonna give away like some free coaching. Like I said in the beginning, this is the process I go through with my students, and then like I take notes, and like I diagnose their game, I see their main leaks, and I try to make a fast track plan for improving them to work on basically having this personalized approach. That's kind of like how I do it with my students. I do have two open spots for coaching. Have two free spots, so I think I put something in the description, or like DM me on Discord if you guys want to ask about it. Doing a bit of coaching now and grinding because I think just like an off topic tangent, I think this is a good time to make money, to gather as much money as you can because of the current economy, macroeconomics of how things are. I think it's a good time to stack cash, and I think poker is a good option to make money, because there will be a lot of opportunities to buy things cheap like crypto, like stocks. So for me, this is a time to really gather cash, not really invest, but focus on making money, not investing money, for the times where investing money will be. The more money you will have in this next recession, the better. So that's why I'm also coaching more and playing more. Yeah, you guys can just DM me about coaching, and I can just give you guys more info there. I do hourly coaching, David. All right, so let's get back. I don't want to go too much into that right now. Let's go back to the video. All right, so 4-bet pot, called 4-bet pot. Sorry, he called 4-bet us. He should be, I don't know, his sizing is kind of weird. He's a bit too small, but whatever. He makes an interesting sizing here as well. I guess this is 1/3. Yeah, let's see how you play this. I would check raise this and get it in. Yeah, because I mean the pot is already so big. He does not really have that many like higher flush draws, and even against an overpair, we get it in fine. We get him to fold something like ace king, ace queen, which is nice with a check raise. Yeah, you're not really putting enough pressure here. What do you think? How did you think about check calling versus check raising?
I think he still have some aces and kings and queens.
Okay.
Like when we just check raise and he can just ships it on the flop. So I just want to realize my equity by just check call on the flop.
Okay, you actually realize more equity by check raising and getting it in, because let's say you call flop and then there's like a deuce turn. Like, do you just like blank turn? Do you just check call again or like check call a ship? You cannot really check call with 10 high flush draw, so you're not seeing a river. So you're realizing less equity by check calling actually. And
Uh,
even if he has an overpair and he doesn't fold, you're still like flipping on, like you're still flipping, you're still getting it in good shape. But what about the times where he doesn't have an overpair and you make him fold a better hand like ace king, ace queen, ace 10 suited, king queen suited? What about then, right? Like you also get a lot of EV like that. So don't be afraid to get the money in. I see you're playing. It's the second time you're playing a flush draw passively here, so maybe that's a trend. Especially when you think they can have folds, and you're not getting it in bad anyway. Yeah, look to be a bit more aggressive in spots where it makes sense. Not everywhere, but I think here it's a spot where we get a lot of benefits from getting the money in here, because yeah, now we check call, yes, and we turn. Now we have a gut shot as well, but yeah, imagine the turn is a blank, so you actually realize more equity by check raising. I like the check raise more.
yeah.
Okay, he checks back, a mandatory bluff. I like how you like very decisively drag the bar there, like for like the all in. I like it. Very, very convincing. But then, like I saw you do stuff like this before. Then you just click block bet. Uh, isn't check raise small flush draw out of line? Well, it's a cold 4-bet pot, so no. Like just like a flush draw in general. It's not like it's not as bad. It's not really out of line because the SPR is lower, so we get the money in faster. We don't have to. We don't need a lot of pot odds to get the money in, and we are dominated by bigger flush draws less often because again it's a cold 4-bet pot. If you compare it to like a single raise pot, so the SPR is lower. We are flush draw is dominated less often, so it makes us want to check raise flush draws more. It's the easiest way to play flush draws, and it's a pretty effective way. Um, yeah. See, I had the now I have the read on you. Like you scroll the bar to the max, almost click, and then click block bet. Yeah, I have my reads now. Let's see. So how do you think about like shoving versus block betting here on the river? Like, what's your thought process here?
Like, I think if he has some like overpairs, I think he doesn't checks back on the turn.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so maybe just checks back on the turn. I think he have a lot more like ace king suited and ace king off stuff like that. So just folding out some ace king by use block on the river.
Okay. Do you think he folds ace king versus this sizing?
Yeah, I think like it's so hard to find bluff in his shoes.
Mm-hmm.
So versus bluff, I think he can fold sometimes ace king and ace high stuff.
Yeah.
Even like ace 5 suited.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I don't think ace king probably is a big part of his range here. Maybe jacks, but yeah, ace king is a big part of his range. Um, I think people are still curious. I don't know. I would rather bet bigger exploitatively here. Probably ship, um, or at least bet like I don't know, like something like 30, which doesn't make sense, but makes him fold the ace king. Just like to make him fold ace king and lose the least amount of money again. An exploitative play, make him fold ace king and lose the least amount of money when he does have aces, kings, or trap or something like ace jack or
Yeah.
something. But I think this still makes people a bit curious with ace king. I don't want to give them a good price to look me up. Um, Yeah. Okay, he makes a mean raise. Okay. Well, yeah. Okay, now, yeah, again, you drag the bar to the all-in. And you fold. Yeah, we're not. Nobody ever bluffed with that line, ever. So I'm not trying to make him fold like a good pocket pair there, so that's fine. Okay, let's see another hand, and then we can start wrapping it up.
Okay.
Hope it's gonna help your game to like some of the stuff. Gonna give you some directions afterwards, stuff you should focus on. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. You ran good winning the promotion stuff.
Yeah.
To the session. I'm glad.
I'm glad too.
It's maybe I do I'll do another one, and then maybe you win that one as well. You can message me and tell me how it's going with the adjustments I'm telling you to make, to see.
Okay.
Keep track of it. Okay, let's see. King 8. Do we see a flop? Okay. 10-9 in the big blind will be a call versus min open. Normally, but this guy is playing 27-14, kind of tight, so maybe I just fold. So this is a good example of a tight fish, so it's like a fish reg. I would mark him as a fish reg, and yeah, it's not like really a fish, but it's not really a reg. So
yeah,
it's annoying. Okay. King 8 versus the the bluff from Poland with that Robbie girl as his avatar.
Robbie.
Yeah. You know about the scandal? You follow it?
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. Is she guilty or not? Did he cheat? Did she cheat or not?
I still don't know who is the right.
Okay.
Garrett versus Robbie.
Yeah, I also don't. I did not really follow much, so I still like. I don't know.
Yeah.
What guys in the chat, did they reach a conclusion? Did they like determine she was cheating or not, or is there still no clear answer to this mystery? Because I know people are speculating both sides, but I don't know. I stopped following it. Okay. King 8 here. We go for 3/4 spot again. Thought process here. How do we decide? We go for 3/4.
So I think we have some I think we need another unusual bluff.
Okay.
Like not a flush draw and ace deuce, ace 4, 4, 6, like 6, 7.
Mm-hmm.
So when we hit the king and we got top pairs and like spade or other stuff came, like diamond doesn't block their backdoor floats on the turn, so we can just pair sometimes on the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think it's like king suited is some frequency is fine to go for bluff here on the flop.
Okay. What about the sizing?
Sizing, maybe we can use like all the sizings, just not using overbets, like 1/3, half, 3/4.
Wait, what? Your sizing is not using overbets, or is like using?
I mean, I'm not gonna use overbet on this flop.
Yeah.
But maybe use other sizings.
Okay.
All other sizings. Yes.
Okay. 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 Let's see. So King 8, yeah. Let's for everyone here, for you as well, give another like a very important concept here when it comes to like again having these kind of unnatural bluffs and stuff. How we should construct our range at the flop and later on as well. We should have multiple categories of hands generally in our betting range on the flop. So I would define them as your strong hands that want to to bet. So the strong hands, which would be the value hands, the obvious value hands, and the very strong draws. Then we will have some kind of medium hands that are still betting, which would be like some weak top pairs, or maybe some even strong second pairs. So kind of like weak value hands, and then some decent draws, maybe some open-enders, some weaker flush draws. This is another category, and these two are the main categories people use. So maybe some strong gut shots, like especially the old school regs. That's these categories they are using, and a lot of the regs still at low stakes. But then you have the third category, which is like just weak hands, which would be like weak draws, like weak gut shots, or like backdoor draws. Most like backdoor draws, or like blocker hands, or like a hand like this, king 8. So we have these three categories of hands. Okay, we have the strong hands, which is, by the way, like again, the combo draws get in there as well. Then we have the medium hands with the medium value hands and the gut shots, and these like weak hands, which is like backdoor blockers, backdoors, like weak gut shots, backdoor suited hands, and whatever. This like weak kind of backdoor stuff. The way we construct our range is we generally want to bet hands from each category on the flop. So like Franz here said, like, so you have bluffs on different runouts. So you still have, you bet in general, we bet the weakest part of our of these hands, like the weak gut shots or the weak backdoors, or like backdoor blockers, whatever, in order to have bluffs when everything gets there. That's their purpose. But people don't really bet these hands, so that's why when everything gets there, people don't really have bluffs anymore, because they don't bet those kind of hands. So the way we decide the frequency of each of these is how much are we betting on that flop. The better the flop is for us, the higher frequency we're betting, the more we're betting all three categories, especially the weak hands as well. Not okay, no, it's also the weak hands. But if it's a flop that we're not really betting much, we should be very careful of like betting the medium hands and the weak hands. We don't really bet that many backdoor shit hands, whatever, when it's a low frequency c-bet spot. But that's the idea. We want to have everything everywhere, and that's kind of like how I would categorize it. But be careful where you do it, and the higher frequency the spot, the more you have to include hands like this as well. So I think your king 8 of diamonds, I would probably bet, my weakest king X, so king 6 probably is my weakest, king 6, king 7, king 8, not really, probably like a lower frequency, king 8, king 9 of diamonds. I would definitely bet the clubs way before these diamonds, or I would bet stuff like jack 9, like lower showdown stuff, like queen high, jack high, 9 high, 8 high, before I would bet this one.
Yeah.
Or weaker king highs. That's how I'd see that. So yeah, it's good that you bet this one here, but like, I don't know, like for example, like king 9, king jack of diamonds, I've probably it's a bit too loose.
Okay.
But that's how I would. Does this make sense for you? Like how I said to construct a range and when to do it, more or less? This explanation, guys in the chat, Franz, what do you think?
Like when we have more, like less showdown value, then more lean toward the bluff than checks back.
Yeah, exactly. Like when it comes to like betting, I would try to get hands with better equity or like lower showdown value.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing I will have as a conclusion, just like having more range awareness. It seems like you're not really thinking about your whole range, the whole hand, all of the hands you can have in one spot, which is very common. David, you got it? Okay, good. Okay, so let's see if we get fold or not. Okay, we get the fold. This hand you would check. I think it's fine betting it sometimes, but yeah, we check more often king jack, king 10, yes. Well, king 10 is top pair, but yeah, king jack more often, and bet king 6, king 8. Yes, all else equal, I would bet king 6 because king 6 more makes more better hands fold. Uh, if we bet king 6, he can himself fold king 7, king 8, king 9, king jack, ace highs, whatever. But if we bet king jack, we make less strong hands fold. And we have better backdoors with king 6, king 7 as well. Yeah, exactly. King queen, king jack, those have it's dicey, like of diamonds, I mean, like the diamond ones. I would probably bet them quite still. King queen, king jack, I would still bet them quite a bit with one heart or with club backdoors, because they have better backdoor straight draws on this specific board. But in general, yes, we should also look at the backdoor potential. Yes, the idea is to make the more better hands we can make fold, the better. That's one factor. That's not the only factor, of course. The equity of your hand, the backdoor equity, is also important. In single raise spot, you want to have flushes here on this board. Want to have flushes, sets, full houses by the river, so straights. So having hands that block those, that you want to have those hands or block those hands. So this is a pretty low frequency bet, like king 8 of diamonds.
Yes. Okay.
And yeah, bluff catcher. Yeah, you have it correct. Okay. Let's see. No findings about cheating. Okay, thanks, Soren. They made an investigation. The conclusion is that she did not cheat. Okay. Yeah. So how much you would bet if you bet on the flop? Yeah. Nowadays I do bet 3/4 on this flop. With sizing, like I think 3/4 is fine. Half pot is fine. I would not really go bigger than that on this specific board. If it's more connected, I'm going half pot, but 3/4 is fine. Nowadays I'm going 3/4 here. All right. Do you have any finishing questions for me, Franz, or I can give you my directions?
How many times do you exercise a week? And exercise helps you play poker?
Okay. I work out like 5 times a week now. On average, I go to the gym 5 times a week. Does it help me play poker? Yes, I would say so. Definitely. It definitely, because poker is like you sit down a lot, and it's just like very static. And I think for my mental health, I think it's just like exercising really balances out, makes me like refreshed, and it just like feels good overall. So I think it helps my mental state quite a bit by consistently exercise. I think it makes my mind clear when I do sit down and play. I think it helps me focus more, probably gives me more energy that I can use on the tables as well. Specifically, I'm not doing it that much, but specifically endurance training, like cardio training, whatever, running, whatever. Specifically, endurance training helps you perform like longer sessions because it's kind of the same endurance traits help you with staying focused for more time. I know like Fedor Holz, his kind of team, they were like emphasizing more like endurance training. But any type of exercise, I do think helps a lot for poker, or just like having a more balanced life, more like health-wise, but also mental health. For me, I would just be depressed if I don't work out constantly. I think it gives me a way better mood, which helps me play more rationally and less emotionally at the tables. Yeah. Good question. I did not think.
Thanks.
I was not expecting it. Yeah. You go in the morning or after session? I go in the morning, but I feel like when I go hard at the gym, it's hard to play good after. I need to take a break after. I have to take a nap or a break afterwards. Or you want to have like a lighter workout. Because I remember, especially back like some years ago, I was trying pretty hard, and when I came back from the gym, like it was hard to play because I was too tired. Um, so, um, but yeah, do you exercise, France? What's your routine, or like what? How come you thought about asking?
Um, Now I'm translating.
Yeah. Don't worry. Who are you? Why should people listen to you? Ben Anderson. Fair question. I'm a yeah. I am a high stakes player. I'm friends with a lot of high stakes players. I coached a ton of people move. I helped a ton of people move up from like 100 NL to 100 NL to high stakes. I have a lot of former students. That's why I do coaching here, and I do coaching. I have a lot of former students that started from like 200 NL, are now playing 1K NL, 2K NL. I have a student that he was playing 200 NL, he was stuck at 200 NL, and he's now playing like 10K, 20K NL. I have students that were struggling at 100 NL, then they made like 100K. So I think I'm very strong theoretically. I talk poker with a lot of high stakes players. I play poker a lot I have like high stakes friends. I think my understanding of poker is very in depth. I think I understand poker at a very deep level, and I think I'm pretty good at communicating that to others. That's why sometimes I have like a few students, a handful of students, like 1 to 5 students I work with consistently, to help them make better, do better. And I always liked working with people. It's kind of like poker is a bit boring if you only play it, but I like discussing poker with friends. I like teaching it, and I like kind of like seeing students progress. I like students work hard, like taking my directions, studying the theoretical stuff. I am more like GTO combined with Explo. I worked a lot with PioSolver. I have like, I don't know how many thousands of hours in PioSolver. So I like basically transmitting that knowledge and seeing students improve. Unless they stack me, then I don't like them anymore. But that's kind of like short why you should listen to me. Do you have contact of Jova? Yeah. I was in Brazil with Jova. I don't know which Jova I don't know which Jova you mean, but maybe I think it's the same Jova. Giovanni. What about standing desk? It could fix problem with sitting. Also, when standing, your brain performs much better. I did have a standing desk, not at this place, but I do like standing desk. I think they're pretty good to mix in healthy, so you don't sit that much. I don't know if your focus better, but yeah. Actually, do you have your translation, France?
Yeah. So I used to exercise consistently, but these days I don't do it once a month because I'm lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about starting exercising again in the new year.
Nice. Yeah, I would encourage you to do so. Especially, do you do like other types of movement, or like you're mostly sitting at your PC, like mostly sitting around doing stuff?
Actually, I just like hang out and just play with friends and girls. That's it.
Okay. Well, that's fine as well. That's obviously fun and relaxing. I would say, I think there is a lot of EV in exercising. I think it definitely helps you. It gives you more energy to perform at poker as well, and I think it puts you in a better spot mentally. Just do exercise you enjoy. I think there's a lot of types of exercise you can do. You don't have to always go to the gym or something. Just do exercise that is fun for you, or like with friends or something. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and
I would encourage you. Okay, you have to now. You said it here on stream live, so you have to now start exercising in 2023.
yeah.
You have guys in the chat here supporting you. You have to get on the grind, and have an
Thanks,
exercise
guys.
routine for next year. I will ask you about it.
Okay.
Um,
I really
running is
want to go
good or
to.
swimming? What? Sorry.
Oh, I really want to go to Malta to like and do grinding as far. And as far as I know, Linus Love started in Malta, right?
Yes, I think yeah. He did live in Malta as well. Yes, but it's not like it's not it's not why he's successful. But yes, he also a lot of. It's not like everyone. Actually, there is a lot of successful poker players that lived in Malta at some point. But yeah, a lot of poker
Yeah.
players were living in Malta at some point because of taxes, and it's like a nice country to live in, sunny, wherever. But nowadays, I think there's not that many poker players anymore there. More like a lot of them are in South America and stuff. Um, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Question before we wrap up?
Um, I think yeah, that's it.
Okay. Uh, then okay, I'm gonna come back with the game plan for you to improve. I'm gonna answer the questions in
Okay.
the chat. If you guys have more questions in the chat, I'm gonna answer them and put them in the chat. I will answer them when I get back. We get 2 minutes break, so I can go pee. If you want to go pee, free to do so as well, France. Yeah, so just give me 1 minute, guys. Be right back. I'm so committed, guys. I did not even wash my hands, just so you know. Okay, we have some nice questions here. Um, I see quite a bit of questions about like uh, my coaching. You guys can like I think I have in the description. I have my email, or you can DM me on Discord to like ask for like details, and then I talk to each person like individually. I have like a very personalized approach to coaching. I don't like to take too many students on, but like I said, now I have a couple spots open, and yeah, I think it's a good time to grind poker now. Um, Mixing and standing and sitting, also sitting on gumball is the best option. Sitting on gumball, I did not hear about that strategy. You play in the morning and afternoon. Yeah, yeah, I kind of like spread out like more. Yeah, I nowadays I have like my evenings free more often. But yeah, I never played at the perfect times. I probably the best like is Europe time. Now I'm in Europe, so it's annoying. Probably the best times like evening and night, but I really don't like that. I just feel very bad like when I wake up like around 1 p.m., 2 p.m. It's just like it's bad. What stakes do I play now? I actually play 1K and like sometimes I was like some 500 because I got wrecked in crypto. I lost a lot of money in crypto, so now I'm just like rebuilding. But yeah, like I said, I'm basically playing like pleb stakes and also reviewing high stakes hands with friends, which is annoying. Hopefully crypto will get back and I will get unwrecked. But yeah, I play different sites. Yeah, I mix, but I mostly play. I play a lot of GG. Can find a lot of action there. Do you consider making podcast with MMA part 2? Let's see. Maybe. I would like it if you guys request it. Maybe I can get him on. I know he doesn't like to be public at all, so that would be hard to get him to do another public thing. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm gonna play my friendship card. We're good friends. Actually, I was with him in like Colombia now recently for 1 month. My voice is going out. Okay, I'm gonna have to wrap this up for some guys. Okay, yeah, running is good or swimming. Both are fine. Running and swimming, whichever you like most. I hate swimming, personally. Yes, Red Loop. This is gonna be on YouTube. This should stay on YouTube so you guys can review it. So France can review it. How long are my sessions? Actually, I should probably do a video on that, on session management. I think it's very important for some people, especially. Yeah, my sessions, I try to keep them to like 1.5 hours. I think that's a good. I just set a timer for a 1.5 hours. 1 hour to 1.5 hours. I think once you start going over 1.5 hours, you start playing worse, and the more you go over, the worse you play. So I prefer 1.5 hours, break 20 to 30 minutes, or like 15 to 30 minutes, play again. I saw a lot of students who are very good players, but they play too much, too long sessions without breaks, and they end up spewing in like hour 2 or 3. They spew a lot, where it's just better if they just did not play those extra hours, which is weird. Like, just like people grinding hard, playing a lot, that would do better by just playing less, much better. I have a student like that. That's his main league. He plays like 3-4 hour sessions, which is insane. You cannot focus for that long. You just make mistakes. Okay. The best city to grind live. I don't know. I do not really grind live. I hate live now. Like, I played in Vegas and Barcelona in 1 year, and it was so boring. I only play cash games, so the cash games were so boring and such a waste of time. But I would still play sometimes for fun. Depends what stakes you play. Isn't Zoom waste of time on micro stakes? It feels like only PokerStars is profiting on it. Yeah, I would advise people to mostly play regular tables, especially because it's a skill set. If you want to move up, if you're gonna do good in poker, which most won't, and you're gonna move up, you will have to learn to play regular tables sooner or later, to play few tables and play focused. Zoom is fine for practicing, but yeah, there's a different dynamic. You want to be able to see the fish at the table and really get reads, practice getting reads on him over multiple hands and exploiting that fish, getting into a dynamic with fish and the regs. So yeah, I think regular tables are better, but Zoom helps you polish your strategies faster. Where have I been? Actually, I've been traveling a bit. I've been traveling here and there, working on poker. Like I said, I think now I was away for 1 month. I was in Colombia and Mexico to get some good weather, because now it's winter in Europe, but I'm back for holidays. I was actually in the lab in Colombia there. Came up with some new strategies. The best poker site to play, I would say for a lot of people, is GG. The games seem pretty soft there, and you can find a lot of games. Probably GG, even though the rig is high. So be very careful with game selection. Are you back, Franz?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay. Let's finish a few questions. And then I will also go to how I would improve your game. Did you leverage trade? Yeah, I do some trading. I am actually also studying trading on the side. I have some friends that are traders, um, but did not do it very. I did not degen it up right yet with trading. I'm still studying. Trading is very similar to poker. Gumball is good for hips mobility. Nice. What's your GG nickname? That's a secret. I have a few. I had a few. Now I have only one. Very important. Not breaking terms of service. Definitely one part with MA. Okay. My sessions 45, 60 minutes max. Yeah, that's very good as well. My brain is fried after. Yeah, it's very good. Pay 3, 4, and mostly after 8 hours of work. Yeah, I would not do that. Bluff catcher. What are your thoughts on anonymous online poker like Ignition? It's a bit riskier because it's like easier to cheat, but if the games are good enough, then whatever, I'm still gonna play. I know Ignition is very soft, so that's fine. Anonymous is fine. Anonymous is fine. You just need to get better at spotting the fish fast, and who's a reg, who's a fish. It limits your ability to exploit a bit because you don't have reads, but I think it's okay. At least 5-10 minutes break in between. Good. Can you make a video how your day looks nowadays? Yeah, I think I'll make a video. Yeah, I think I'll make a video on kind of like approaching poker professionally, because I see people making a lot of mistakes with their approach, especially some students, some other people. Like it's annoying to see like people working so hard, and because they have like a slightly bad approach, they are costing themselves a lot of money and they like don't progress anymore. Is your living entirely earned from playing poker and coaching? Yes. Yeah, mostly yes. Like I have a trading bot. I have a bot that's trading for me. Crypto is down, so that's not a source of income anymore. I have something else that generates money. Yeah, I think mostly like I have like trading bot, but yeah, more poker is definitely my main thing. Wait, okay, you need to change it. I wake up around 8:30 a.m. now. Maybe I play around like noon. How do you approach high GG rake? Because of the high rake, you have to fold more pre-flop, not instead of calling when you are the caller, and you have to make sure the fish are way bigger because you're paying a lot in rake, so the fish have to be bigger. Okay, how do you call? Okay, let's get back to France here first, because I think okay. So first of all, France.
Yes.
Now basically now the next step would be like I saw like I think I have a good idea of your game now, like about your game. Seeing like the preflop stats, seeing a bit of like how you approach the game. I do not see many mistakes. I don't know. Yeah, I do not see really like many big mistakes, but there's definitely some stuff. So okay, let's see. I would first of all, with your strategies, I would try to have like I would spend some time creating strategies for the most common spots I'm playing. So I know, okay, it's here. So here, cut off big blind, 10-5-3. I know I have one sizing, just like have one sizing for one type of board. And don't mix sizings too much. Just have one stable strategy. Practice that strategy, so you know your default game plan. That's important, because too often I see you like, I don't know, like I want to overbet, I'm gonna block bet, I'm gonna bet small big. You're still too undecided. I would say construct strategies, clear strategies, one size strategies for most spots, most common spots, and work on mastering them. On one side, this is on the theoretical side. So you know your strat. So that this way you know your ranges. You know your ranges turn and river. It's very important to know your range turn and river to be able to execute properly. To be able to underbluff, overbluff. To know where you are underbluffing, overbluffing. To know your range. You cannot know your range if you don't know your sizing, because basically your sizing will dictate your range, right? So very important. Start creating strategies for yourself that okay, I like there you don't have a question of like, oh, do I bet this or that anymore? So don't want to see that anymore. Second big one is try to get more value. Like I did not like that queen jack hand when you had the nuts and you just bet small flop and turn. If you're gonna mix different sizings, just mix them to your advantage. Don't be afraid of exploiting when you know what they have, or don't be just like go for extracting value. Don't be afraid of getting exploited. So secondly, after you know your strategies, at the same time also look into people's mistakes. Don't focus on your game as much. Once you know your game, don't focus on it as much. Focus more on finding, and that goes for you guys as well, for everyone. Focus more not having the best game yourself, but focus on finding mistakes in others' games. Focus on finding pain points in others' games and exploiting those pain points. Don't stick to your balanced strategy. Really attack those pain points. What does that mean? If someone doesn't check raise, see bet more. If someone, let's see a bit more into them, if someone doesn't stab enough, again, you can just like check. If someone overstabs, just check more to them to check raise. Someone folds a lot pre-flop. If there's a lot of nits in this player pool, look, 1915, whatever here, okay, 21, okay, yeah, this is the same guy, 1950, no, a different one, 1915, 1919. Let's say you have enough sample on them, yeah, adjust, like open wider pre-flop to steal their big blind. Once you guys do exploit, counter adjust the next street, so you steal light, but you open light to exploit people overfolding, or you over bluff because they're overfolding, but on the next street they will be stronger, you'll be weaker, so counter adjust on the next street, be more passive at the next street because they will be stronger, respect their range when the range is strong. But I want to get you in this mindset of focusing on other people's games more. Looking for people, like the GTO approach that people are having nowadays is wrong. GTO approach is defensive approach. Let me try to have the perfect ranges, the impenetrable defensive ranges. Like I'm not exploitable in any spot. That's not the point. That's not how you make money. By being defensive, you want to be aggressive. You want to attack. You want to have attacking strategies, not defensive strategies. So you attack by knowing what the weakness is and attacking that weakness. That's a way better approach for poker. I have a student that plays 100 NL. Now he plays 200 NL. He has worse fundamentals than all of you here in terms of theory. Okay, not all of you, but a lot of you. But he's still crushing the games for like 8 BB per 100 because he has HUDs and he exploits everyone with the HUD. He does not have a good theoretical understanding, but he crushes people who have way better fundamentals than him. Why? Because he looks for spots to attack and he attacks those spots. He has good intuition, but he does not even have he doesn't really have strategies. And much love to you if you're watching, but he's a strong player, but it's an approach that works for him, and that's where people should head their game towards. So yeah, that's one thing. Have your strategies. Second big thing, have more of this attacking approach, and of course you'll make mistakes, but it's fine. You'll fine tune it over time, and you will find go more aggressive, delay c bet more. That's one example. Just look for spots where people check twice. It's very obvious they're weak. Just bet anything, or just bet way more often there.
Right.
Yeah, just go crazy and experiment and see. They just give the pot to you so often, fight for the small pots more often, because you're not in the pre-flop. You saw you're not probing much, you're not stabbing position much, you're not delay c-betting much. It's like all of those are passive. Just do more of those, because all those are spots where population is weak. So yeah, fight for when they show weakness, take it. Don't like, but bio says check back. No, just take it. Just take the pot. They're saying like, okay, just take the pot, bro. And you're like, no. But this is like, I have to have this, like check back range. No, just take the pot when they give it to you. And yes, once they show strength, okay, be more careful. Third, another big thing is like practice thinking about your range. What does this mean? It's like practice hand selection based on your range. So it means once you have a hand and you are deciding like, do I bet or check? Think about like, what other hands do I have here? What do I have better hands? Like King 8, this one is a good example. Do I have other better hands to bet? And on the river, when you're battling, what other hands do I have that get here? But of course, you don't know that when you don't know your strategy from the flop. That's why it's first of all important have a clear strategy. Then you can hand select your. You want to automate a lot of your decisions, so you have free mental space for exploiting people, seeing mistakes in people, and use that mental space also for managing your range. But you want to minimize effort in other areas. So yeah, practice. Okay, what other hands do I have here? Maybe I know like David and so was here. Like he remembers when I was coaching in Bluff the Spot, I would have people do blind hand histories where you hide your whole cards and you look at the spot and you're thinking, okay, let's say you are triple barrel spot, you bet flop, bet turn. You don't see your whole cards, you're thinking about your whole range. They're like, what are all the hands, and you write them down. What are all the hands that I'm betting here with? So practice being aware with your range, because that helps you exploit people more, helps you know like when you're bluffing, over bluffing, under bluffing, prevents you from making mistakes. And also people cannot cannot exploit you, because your ranges will be more solid. That's that's another thing, like just like people at low stakes, that's a very common one as well. All of these are pretty common. I did not see a crazy leak. Only that one where you try to fold the guy off a jack, off a full house. But yeah, people look at, that's just like exploit people more. Like people look at their hand and they bet what their hand is worth. In terms of exploiting, really look at people's sizings. People will give away their hand. For example, like that guy, when you bet in a 4-bet pot 10 eyes suited and he min raised, he just said like he's never bluffing there, obviously. So people will be very face up with their sizings in a lot of spots, especially the less conventional spots. Most people have their flop strategy, but they will make mistakes later on. So sizings is a very good way to exploit. With the bluffs, don't worry, like stop trying to bluff people off of strong hands for you specifically. Be careful, like hand read. Think about, what does this guy have? What is his range? Like I've bet flop and turn, like what is his range here? And can I, if I have a bluff candidate, can I make him fold enough of his range to make me even want to bluff? So be careful about bluffing into strong ranges, bluff into weak ranges, over bluff against weak ranges, but be careful to when people have a strong hand, or like a lot of their range is strong. Okay, so we said about the other like spots where we are passive in the small pots. Construct your strategies. Against fish, really try to play more exploitative versus fish. Really think about what your hand wants to do. What's your max EV play? What's the max EV play for your hand? How can you just forget all the solver stuff with the fish. How can you make the most money with your hand? even if it's a value hand, if it's a bluff, can I bluff him? In general, I will not try to bluff fish unless I bluff maybe multiple streets and I have good equity. But very important, focus on your fish game. I think probably from all the stuff I've mentioned, this will bring you the most money. I would probably, like, if we had like now like coachings, like more coachings now, like in the future, probably the first thing I would work with you on is fish, playing versus fish. That's where the most of the money comes from. So for you specifically, isolate the fish more. Play heads up pots versus the fish. Isolate their limbs, 3-bet them in position, play with position on the fish, and you'll make way more money. And play very exploitative with them. Play around. That's one big issue I saw. Like a lot of the times you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. Ask yourself why more. Try to think, not like, oh, this is what solver does, but especially with fish, try to think, what are you trying to accomplish with your hand? What does your hand want to do? How big of a pot do you want to play with your hand? So have more reasonings behind your actions, but especially with fish, play more explo, and especially very important, try to get, once you have a very strong hand, try to get the stack in, try to get max value. It's fine, like on ace-5 deuce in the beginning of the session. If you have pocket fives, don't bet 1/3. Bet pot size, then like maybe overbet turn. Like he's not gonna fold an ace. Just like, yes, he will fold other stuff, but to get the most money when he does have an ace. So just don't be, again, try to get more value from your strong hands. That's another possible leak. So yeah, learning how to play versus fish better. A bit more structure in your thought process. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very helpful. Can I ask you like last question?
Sure.
Like this might be a meaningless, but
sure. Go ahead.
Is there a rack that uses only one sizing for each situation in the flop in high stakes?
Sure, yeah. Probably most of them. Probably almost everyone.
Really?
So what I mean by wide sizing is like cut off big blind, 10-5-3, and like this kind of category of like middling, like 10 high, middling board. I would have maybe like 3/4 here. 10 high, disconnected middling, 3/4. But then it's like middling connected, like 9-8-6 flush draw. Then I have like half pot, only half pot for that kind of board.
Yeah.
This makes sense, right? So, or maybe you mean because you probably saw solver have multiple sizings on one board. That's why you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you mean splitting sizings? Like, because I'm not saying having one size everywhere. Like just like 3/4 on every board. No, I mean like having for a specific type of board, having like one sizing for a specific type of board, but you have more types of boards. So on Broadway boards, on sub Broadway boards, like with the flush draw, like King 10-5, I have only overbet or check. But on like, I don't know, like some King XX board, like I only have 1/4 range. But you understand, right? Like I'm using only one sizing per board category.
Yeah.
But only one size. I'm not split, because I guess you're asking one size versus splitting multiple sizings, right?
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
because nobody does it.
Yeah. Nobody, like, even
Okay.
I saw like,
Okay, maybe some people, like, but very few people do it. It's just, okay, why is that? Like, I know solver, if you give like the solver multiple options, it will use like maybe 2-3 sizings. And I know it's tempting to use that for people watching as well. This is important. A lot of the time, so yeah, the solver can play multiple sizings, but here is why that's a bad idea. First of all, it's very hard to execute properly, because now you have each sizing, you'll have a different range on turn and river. So if the straight hits on the turn, like how much do you have the straight in this sizing versus other sizing versus checking back? So it's impossible to manage your range. It's impossible to execute properly unless you're, again, a solver. So you cannot execute it correctly to keep track of your range. You're splitting your and secondly, and very important, and most importantly, you're not gaining much EV by splitting sizings. If you compare, let's say you have a board and it kind of chooses 3 sizings. It uses like 3 sizings, maybe even a check. And you'll find that if you take the sizing that it uses the most and you rerun the board with just one sizing or one sizing or check, and you compare the EVs, you'll see like the EV difference is very, very small. So you're not gaining much by adding multiple sizings. That's very important. So you're not like if you have just one sizing, you're not sacrificing EV at all. You're making it more simple for yourself, and you're just like, if you try to have multiple sizings, you're not gaining much EV, and you're just making it way harder to execute on yourself. So yeah, these are the main reasons why most people don't have multiple sizings. And I personally don't know high stakes players having splitting multiple sizings on the flop. But okay, I know MMA does it on some boards, but he does like on boards that he range bets. So he range bets anyway, and he splits between small bet and big bet. He doesn't check, so he still splits between 2 options. But yeah.
Yeah. The reason why I'm asking this is like because it's cool to see OTV use various sizings on the flop before.
Yes, but maybe he just uses that one sizing for that flop.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'm not saying don't have, you should have like quarter pot, half pot, 3/4, overbet. I have all those sizings, but I use all the sizings for C bets, but I have only one specific sizing for one category, for that category of board. I don't have 10-5-3. On 10-5-3, I only bet 3/4 pot. I don't also overbet. I don't also half pot. I don't also quarter pot. I only have 3/4 pot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have actually quite a few sizings, but I only use each of them in a specific scenario. Yeah, that's what I would say. Other than that, I think it seems like you have learned a lot of your play from like trying to emulate the solver, but it seems to you don't know, the problem is you don't know the reasons behind what you're doing. So that's the issue with solvers. The issue with solvers is like they don't tell you what to do. They tell you what to do, but they don't tell you why you should do that.
Yeah.
So you end up trying to play like it, but you don't know why, and you just don't play properly because it's hard to remember without knowing why you're doing what you're doing. It's hard to remember what you should do. So I don't know. I it's kind of tough because I would learn to play poker more like have a poker thought process. It's hard to study and learn directly from the solver from the beginning. I think like when I was coaching people at lower stakes, when I was like working with like Bluff the Spot, when I was coaching people at lower stakes, first I would coach them just like simple strategies and tell them how they worked. And once they get the foundation, they should work with solvers, because just like solver stuff can just confuse you even more if you're not that good at poker yet. So I think you should first build the foundation of like having some core foundational understanding of how poker works, some spots, and like having a simple strategy and knowing how to execute it well. And then so that can come from following others that can explain to you what is going on, why it is going on, can explain to you some principles and how to use them. That can come from videos, poker videos from decent poker players. That can come from like coaching, obviously, but higher level people teaching you how to think about poker. And once you have a foundation there, solver stuff will make way more sense when you know why it's doing what it's doing. Um, that's yeah, that's actually very that's how I would build up my poker career. I would first try to
Yeah.
understand, have a good thought process, manage my rages, think about think about why I'm doing what I'm doing, and still do some solver stuff, but it's very simple strategies that I can execute. And then try to ask, as you're working with the solver, try to always ask why. Why is the solver doing this? And then maybe change up the solution a bit, maybe change up the ranges a bit, maybe change up the sizings, maybe node lock. And as you look, don't try to also always like copy it or just do what it does. Ask yourself why. Why is it doing this? And that's where having some foundational knowledge about poker, having some good basics down helps you, because you can start answering those why questions from the solver when you look at the solver. When you're kind of starting out, it's kind of hard. When you don't know what to look for. It's hard to
Yeah.
see. I think it's still doable, but without guidance, without having someone like more advanced show you or like teach you concepts, it's a bit harder by yourself to answer why. But that's, you want to ask yourself, why is the solver doing this, to understand deeper underlying principles that you can then take and put in your game, and then a lot of the spots will make way more sense.
Yes.
So that means looking at stuff like the stuff that solver takes into account the most when making decisions will be ranges. What are the ranges? What is the SPR? And what is the position? Who is out of position, who is in position? The bigger the SPR, the more position matters. The smaller the SPR, the less position matters. And hand selection. Hand selection and frequencies will change with all of these key components: SPR, ranges, and position. That's why you see 3-bet pots. In 3-bet pots, it c-bets almost range in low SPR because 3-bet pot, but single raise pot, you'll see out of position checks a ton, even though it still has, it's uncapped in both scenarios. Yeah, does that answer
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, it was very good.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
very
It's
good.
like a long tangent there, but that's how I would approach learning. I would try to maybe watch some videos of like good poker players explaining their thought process and take some of that, and also basically go more in that direction. Let's see. Let's see what other people are in the chat are saying before we wrap it up. Wow, we've been going for like a long time. Well, I did not stream in a while, so you guys are getting spoiled for holidays. Okay, let's finish with some questions. I hate playing with nits. What is the approach? Just attack them. Just steal, c-bet them. Just like take all the small pots, and once they show some strength, just give up. They are very easy to play against. Just steal their blinds a lot. They're just like c-bet and they fold, and once they show, that's where you make money from them, just them giving you the pot too often. And once they show some aggression, just back off. They never fold. There is no point of bluffing. They never fold strong, but not strongest hands. Yeah, just do what I said. Why half pot on 9-8-6? Hodor, I think answered. Yeah, well, 9-8-6. 9-8-6 flush draw. I bet smaller because the equities change more. I don't want to put more. When the board is very dynamic, so a lot of draws can come in, turn and river. I will put more money in the pot when the run out is more obvious. Because still a lot of, like, even if I have the strongest hand at the flop, it can change very fast with all the draws. But the drier the board, the bigger sizing I can use, because so like 10-5-3, I can use a bigger sizing because my strong hands will stay strong more often by the river. but on a very connected board, a lot of my strong hands will not be strong anymore when the flush or straight comes in, for example. So that's why 986 flush draw. Maybe I do half pot here. I do like 3/4 pot. How much do I see bet? King Jack, 5 flush draw, early position versus button, or big blind. Well, versus button or big blind is very different. But it will come down to how many sets does he have. In position, flatting is very different to big blind. In position, you open 21%, let's say early position, yeah. Let's say you open 20%, he flats 5%, 6% in the button, but on the big blind, he will flat like 20%, 20 something percent, depending on what sizing you choose pre-flop. So you have very different ranges, and you are in position versus out of position. So it's very different strategies. Okay. I generally play cutoff and button. I generally kind of play the same approach. How do you manage that simplified approach? Yeah, you can run this out with multiple sizing. You see which one is mostly used. That's a decent one. Decent alternative. Decent option. Do I need expensive PC for solvers? Do people buy solve trees? I think GTO Wizard has solve trees, right, Franz?
Yeah, like
Dying. Yeah, I think you can find some solvers online with like pre-solved trees. I don't trust them that much, but for high stakes, but it should be easier. You don't, yeah. Expensive PC. For solvers you need like good processor, and good amount of RAM, at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. You can probably have one with 1K. Daniel, can you make a vlog where things are getting better now at the end? Can you make a vlog where you go to police station and free Andrew Tate? Yeah, I could try. I'll probably do it. This cannot be allowed. So I'll probably have to go there myself and say, like, what the fuck is this shit? Free this guy. He has done nothing wrong. but help inspire the youth. Hey, what do you think is the roadmap from 200NL to 1KNL? That's a good question. Most people, like most of my students, most people that come to me for coaching, that's around the point where they start needing kind of my approach, because up to 200NL, I think you can get there by yourself, watching videos, getting more general coaching, group coaching maybe. But I think a lot of my students actually came from 200NL. A lot of people hit the wall around 200NL, and they kind of need the more personalized approach. That's why, like, I normally work around people with 200NL, because then I can look at the specific. They need like more like specifics for their game. The general approach doesn't apply to them anymore, so they have to they need personalized stuff that takes their game to the next level. And I think, to answer your question briefly, the roadmap is learning to exploit more for 200NL to 1KNL. People at 200NL try to play 2 GTO. They think everyone at high stakes plays very GTO, but the key is to blend GTO and exploits and exploitative play. The better this is what people get wrong, and this can change your whole approach to poker for the best. People think the goal is just to play GTO, but actually the goal of knowing GTO is not to play GTO. The goal of GTO is to be better at exploiting. The better you are at GTO, the better you can exploit if you know what you're doing. But yeah, that's, I would say, like a roadmap. For the 200, I mentioned earlier the student, like he was playing 200NL, like I think he was playing 200 Zoom, and he went to like 1K NL and beyond, like 10K NL. Shout out to him. He's playing 10K NL and stuff, and this is the stuff that clicked for him when I kind of showed him like how to like blend exploitative stuff with GTO. Versus regs with overcalls 3-bets. I traded 3-bet more linear. Should I also increase sizing? No, it's fine. 3-betting linear means you can usually use lower sizing. What's the difference between NL 200 and 1K? Not that much. Not that big. Just like the regs are better. Depends on what side. But generally, regs are better. They still make a lot of mistakes, but less obvious. But there's not as big of a difference as people may think. Regs are just, yeah, regs maybe, okay, regs put you in more tough spots at 1K now. They go after you a bit more, but not that much, to be honest. Can you tell us really quick how your day looks like? So, yeah, most of the times, like usually, like I said, I wake up, go to the gym, come back, have some breakfast, and then I start working. I wake up around 8:30, then I start working. So then I just work. It's like from 11, 12, after I eat. Maybe I take a small nap, a quick nap, like 20 minutes if I'm tired from the gym. But then until the evening, I go, I like do 90-minute work sessions, break, 90 minutes, break. And then I have maybe another big meal in the evening. And then maybe I hang out with my girlfriend or some friends or something. And then I try to go to bed early, but I'm kind of bad at that. Yeah, that's kind of like overall most of my days. My days when I'm here, like I have a pretty boring life. What's the best way to improve your play versus fish? Yeah, like I told Franz earlier, the best way to improve your play versus fish, just like think about what your hand wants to do, what are the fish's tendencies, what he is likely to have, what is he likely to have, like hand reading, right? Like what is he likely to have, and how can you best play against what he's likely to have. How many sessions per day? I would say 2 to 3 sessions a day is fine. How do you transfer large amounts to get money on various sites when there are such strict affordability checks nowadays? There's like transfers, poker transfer chats, exchange chats. I am in. Advice to players from Zoom to regular tables for table selections. Any tips for table selection? Yeah, just make sure the fish is big enough for you to stay at that table. Again, like I said earlier, for France, he should be like 35 VPIP plus, or 40 if you want to be safe, and on a big enough sample, or on a big enough sample, it has like minus 30 BB per 100. That's very important. Just be very careful with selecting your games. Yeah, workout doesn't break you. I think probably I will experiment with getting up earlier, playing a session, then working out, then taking a break, and then playing again. Yeah, that's probably better. I like working again. Okay. Franz, any last questions for me? Any last things before we wrap up this epic stream?
Really last question.
Yeah. Sure.
So how do you respond to like out of position fishes, like bigger 3-bet? Like for example, like if we raise first in 2.5 big blind with like 10-9 suited in the middle position and cut off fish 3-bet 9 big blind.
Yeah.
And then like I think it would be better to fold it considering like 50 NL break structure.
Yeah.
But can we call if we think about fish about having advantage about playing the pot?
Yeah,
against
so
fish?
yeah, so against fish, I would generally play more loose. Yes, like I would play looser on average, but it depends. The three bet could be an exception because most fish don't three bet enough, so they actually can be tighter than regs. But in general, I should have better edge against the fish. To be honest, out of position 3-bet pot versus the fish, it's not a dream spot. It's not that easy to play because normally they 3-bet strong and you're out of position. It's way harder to exploit them and like outplay them, especially you don't have the initiative, you cannot see bet. So yeah, that's a spot where I don't have to go too crazy with
Uh,
calling. Yeah, in general, if a rig makes it 9, if I make it 2.5, a rig makes it 9 in position, I don't have a calling range. You should just 4-bet or fold. But against fish, I can have some calls. But yeah, a very important, I would try to look at his 3-bet stats if he has it. Yeah, that's... I would still not call that much there in the spot you mentioned. If I have position, I call more, but out of position and he 3-bets me versus early position, yeah, don't have to go. That's not where I will make my money against him.
yeah, thanks. Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
It was a very good session.
yeah. Okay, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. You guys enjoyed it. Have 32 likes for the session. I like it. Yeah, if you guys are not in my Discord, get in the Discord. We talk more poker there. We post like hand histories. I think David just posted a hand earlier. Um, Again, France won this session
Yeah,
by like the Discord promotion. So maybe if you guys are nice, maybe I do like another promotion, like more like if you guys like this stuff, it looks like you guys liked it. Maybe we'll do more sessions like this in the future. Let's see what other people think as well. But I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Hope everyone had something to learn from this. I think we touched on a lot of concepts, a lot of things when it comes to poker and how to like improve. I think there should be something in there for everyone. This is a huge stream, so I think there should be good tips for all levels. Actually, even like mid to high stakes guys. Um, yeah, it was very enjoyable for me as well. I'm glad we spent this time together. Just in time for, yeah, maybe you guys have now now some inspiration for 2023. Let's crash it together. Again, I will have details. If you guys want to DM me, ask me about coaching and stuff, I'll have it in the disc. Just DM me on Discord, or I think I'll have the email in the description. Because it's time to make money, guys. Come on, it's gonna be a still the depression is still coming. The economic crisis, whatever, it's still coming. 2023 is gonna be a harsh year. I think poker is still a very good option to make money. A lot of investments will lose money. Like there's this time for stacking cash, making as much cash as you can. That's why again, gonna play more. I'm gonna do like a lot of poker. I'm gonna coach. Probably gonna coach a bit more. Still not taking too many students. Still gonna be selective, but still gonna do some coaching. Just stack some cash, because I think a lot of good opportunities will come with the markets crashing. They are already crashing this year, but I think it will keep going on for 2023, and that's my focus. That's why I'm also like doing some coaching, keeps me sharp as well. I'm also playing, just trying like wanting to stack cash because I think the cash that you invest in these periods can add up to a lot, like 5 to 10 years down the line. So that's why I'm doing this. I would say everyone should probably focus on poker this period. Crypto is shit. Everything is going to shit. Like S&P stocks, everything is going bad. So just focus on your skills that you have for making money for now, and be in a good position to invest in the like sometime like next year, and you're gonna get a good life. That's why we are here.
yeah.
That's the main goal. Okay, then I'll see you guys in the Discord. How many coaching sessions does a student have with me on average in a month? Depends. Maybe some people do it every week. Some people every 2 weeks. I have a student that's like who wants to do once a month, but normally every 1 to 2 weeks. Depends on his rhythm of learning, because normally we have a session and he should spend a lot of time working on what we discussed, because a lot of the sessions are kind of dense theoretically, so they have to take their time to study it. All right, so Franz, you will have the recording here if you want to go back through it. I would go back through it if I were you, take some notes, start improving bit by bit.
Yes.
And yeah, I'll see you guys maybe on more YouTube videos. We'll see. If not, I will see you guys on Discord. Thanks for joining. Any last words for the stream, for the chat, Franz?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you are very welcome. Thank you guys for being here in the chat. I think it was fun like this to do it live. And good luck in 2023, guys. Let's all crush it together. Let's get it.